start to find a place to sit or stand or whatever your preferred position will be for the duration. There are, again, as we've already announced, index cards up at the front. If you, as at the front door where you came in, if you'd like to submit a question for any of these races, you may do so. We already have several for each race. The first race that we will entertain will be County Commission District 1. The second one will be 14th Judicial Circuit State Attorney. And we ask that each race that is on deck, so to speak, make their way up here, as do the current race. And that way you can sit right back here, and there's going to be a flow and almost no downtime in a perfect world between races. So at this time, would ask the state's attorney candidates to come up, and they are on deck in the chairs behind our dais. And Washington County District 1 Commissioner candidates make their way up here. Is that?
How much time can I get?
We're going to do our opening ceremonies here in just a second, but just the ground rules for all of those present. Each race will come up. They will sit at this table. Each candidate will be given 1 minute to introduce themselves or to use in any fashion that they like. They'll then be asked a series of questions. Our attempt today is to get you out of here as soon after noon as possible. It doesn't take a lot of skill to do the math to realize each one of these are going to be speed rounds, but I don't know that it would be anything but disingenuous to you to ask you to stay here for 5 or 6 hours. There are other opportunities certainly within the county to hear from these candidates. We feel that one of the more important accomplishments of this particular forum is that you can actually put a name with a face, and then you can follow up with that person either here in person or somewhere down the road, but at least you'll have that opportunity to meet. When we start the round of questions, each candidate will be given 1 minute to answer each question. If it occurs, as it appears to, that there's a single candidate, that candidate will still be asked several questions and still be allowed that. Again, be disingenuous to that candidate not to allow them to participate just because their opponent or opponents did not show up. At this time, I'd like to ask Reverend Blunt to make his way up here, along with Triple Anointed. We have got a real treat for you today, and then Josh Potter too, if he would make his way up here. And I'm going to give you a microphone right there.
Thank you, sir. I want to ask everyone if you would just bow with me in prayer. Father, we thank you for allowing us to gather together today. We want to thank you, Father, for directing the minds of our host, New Vision, to give us an opportunity to be a part, Father, of selecting, strengthening, uniting our city, our state, our nation. Father, we ask now that each participant, that you would bless them to be able to accurately articulate their vision, their values, their plans, so that together, Father, we can build a better city, a better nation, so that we can once again put you first and allow the government to be on your shoulders. So we ask that you would bless our gathering with wisdom, understanding, and love, and unity. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
I'm going to ask that we go, hello all, my name is Josh Potter. I'm going to ask that we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. We begin.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If the Triple Anointed would now make their way up here to the front. We've got a microphone. They're going to be needing that microphone right too. You know, we try to start all of our events off with invocation, pledge, and when possible, the singing of the national anthem. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty excited with our opportunity today. I give you Triple Anointed.
Testing 1, 2, check. Oh, say, can you see still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave, brave, brave.
Triple anointed. Come on, give it up one more time. I will tell you that I am the most patriotic person standing in this room today. And I would hope that each one of you would want to argue with me about that point. Because on this kind of a day, and truly it should be on any day, we should be not just proud to be Americans, but we should be willing to say just that. So, we appreciate your attendance. We consider this a job fair today. This is Washington County's job fair. The folks that you're going to see up here today are doing just that. They're applying to you as the voter for a job. Looking around, we have probably more candidates and support personnel than attendees, but it doesn't make any difference. We're taping this and it's going to be broadcast. So there are going to be a lot of people that get to see what we do here today. So the effort certainly is a worthwhile one. We want to thank New Vision. And at some point in time, I'm going to have Tracy Andrews from New Vision come up here and say a few words from us. But we're going to get started on our first round of questions. Brett Butler, City Councilman for the City of Chipley, will be our timekeeper. He will be letting our candidates know when they have 10 seconds remaining of their allotted minute, and then will let us know when we are out of time. We would ask all the candidates to please adhere to those time constraints. Mr. Alan Bush, running for County Commission District 1, obviously no opponent of his here today. So we will go with the first question that has been submitted by our audience, Mr. Bush. Every elected county commissioner promises to boost the economy with more jobs. Every year, that promise is broken. How do you propose to bring in new industry?
I hate to correct right start with Paul, but it hadn't been broken. This last time I ran, and one of the things that I stated I would do is to help the economy in Washington County, and we've done just that. This board has done a lot to improve the economy in Washington County. When I came in office 4 years ago, the county was over $10 million in debt. People that hear me speak, hear me harp on that. There's not a whole lot more a country, a county, any kind of a government can do than to make the government more stable for a company to come in and start up. And that's one of the things we've done. The other thing we've done is we've committed $1.92 million over the next 20 years toward economic development for the purchase of property that can be made into an industrial site.
Thank you, sir. How do you plan on keeping the people of your district aware of changes and issues that directly or indirectly affect them?
That's a good question. You caught me off guard by saying we hadn't done anything, so I had to respond to that. I initially wanted to start out by thanking New Vision for allowing this forum to happen. It's very forthright thinking. It's a great opportunity for the people to see and hear their candidates speak. It makes me proud for a community to come up and be that concerned about who they're putting in office. But we're fortunate to have several media outlets within Washington County that I think do a pretty good job of letting the residents know about the actions of the board. We rarely have any type, and I can't even think of one, any type of meeting, workshop, or special meeting that we don't have some of the media present there and recording
purposely didn't give you your first minute. I figured you've got the catbird seat here. You can say anything you want for the duration of your time up here. Our third and final question for you, Mr. Bush, is grants and other designated monies seem to trickle at a very low rate into the black community. Will you commit to assuring this community of its equal share? Discuss your intentions.
Well, most of the grants, and I'd have to disagree with you on that one too. I don't have anything to back me up on this as far as where the monies go. I mean, I would have to go back and research that, but I have never seen a disproportionate share go to any particular part of the county. When we acquired the $9.2 million for our courthouse, that's to benefit all the residents in Washington County. Whenever we just built the new community center down in Campbell Park, and we did that basically out of the county coffers. I mean, that's in a predominantly black neighborhood. The monies that we have that goes through and administered through the SHIP program are, I can assure you, fairly distributed across the board. I don't see that, Paul. I really don't. And I'm not saying it's an unfair question. It's one that would require a little more research.
Very good, and I'll give you one final minute. I'll tell you what, I'll give you 2 minutes since you didn't take your first one, and since we obviously have a little extra time in your case. You have 2 minutes to speak to the audience about you and your candidacy and why they should vote for you.
Okay, very good. My name is Alan Bush. I didn't get a chance to tell you that up front, but Paul introduced me. I actually live in Wausau. Graduated from Vernon High School, then went on to Chipola, graduated Chipola, then the University of Florida, and then I went on to Florida State and got my master's there in civil engineering. I worked with DOT 26 years over predominantly road and bridge maintenance. I was the district maintenance engineer for the 16 counties of the Panhandle. My strengths are in management and budget. When I was at DOT, I managed a contractual budget of over $70 million and an operations budget of about $26 million. I've got, like I said, an engineering background. I'm more of a numbers person. I'm not a politician by no means, and I'm just not geared that way. I love talking with the public, and I love to I won't say debate things, but Paul puts me on the spot, giving me 2 questions that kind of put me in a debateful mood. But we have done a lot. I'm very proud of the 4 years that I've been there. The one thing I'd like to point out is my election will end August 30th, and it will be an open election. So anybody can vote for me, regardless of the party, when it comes to voting on August the 30th. But we have done a lot of great things. And talk about economic development, another thing we did was to go in and we took the future land use maps, and because many people don't want their property immediately converted to commercial because of taxation reasons, they don't want to pay that increase in property taxes, but they would like for the potential to be there in case anybody ever wanted it to be commercial or industrial. They would like to have that opportunity, and that was another thing this board did. We put in place a commercial intent overlay to where it'll fast track that property should it ever need to be converted to industrial or commercial.
One clarification, these are submitted by the audience, not by me. We will give you one other question that maybe is a little more generic, and we'll let you finish on that one. This will be final word on your candidacy. Describe the quality or qualities of an effective leader.
Well, I think the greatest quality a leader can have is the ability to listen. If you can't take the time to listen and understand an issue, I don't see how anybody could put their thoughts together to come up with a solution to that problem. The other thing is just to be involved in your community to where you know what the issues are. I've thought a lot about that over the last few weeks with some of the incidents that have occurred across the nation. And the biggest thing you can be is you're limited as what you can do as a commissioner, other than the things you can do to help support your community, whether it be with recreational areas, whether it be to go out and provide some materials, maybe to help the school ball field, supporting all the library and all its functions, But the biggest thing a commissioner can do is just help strengthen the community.
Thank you, sir. We will be asking you to come back at the end of all of the candidates speaking to give us your final parting thoughts. Thank you very much. A big round of applause, please, for Alan Bush. If the state attorney candidates will now make their way to the table, and I'll ask that Washington County Commission District 3 candidates come on up here and sit in the table behind the dais. We were doing a political debate at the Vance Theater, I guess a month or so ago, for 14th Judicial, for Congressional District 2 seat, and Deborah Brown was in attendance, and she at that time asked me to moderate this. I don't get paid for this, but I figure I make it up in volume, and maybe there's some goodwill in there somewhere along the way. All right, we have Greg Wilson and Glenn Hess, both currently running. Glenn Hess is our incumbent, being challenged this time for the position by Greg Wilson. And we'll start with you, Mr. Wilson. Give you 1 minute to introduce yourself. Microphone's in.
Thank you. I'm Greg Wilson. I'm really glad to be here today. Thank you for putting this on and bringing this forum to the community to address the issues, to give everybody an opportunity to hear from both the candidates who want to be your state attorney. My background is in law enforcement and prosecution and criminal defense. I started my career as a police officer in Panama City, 7 years in law enforcement, then went to law school, worked my way through school, came out as a prosecutor, was appointed by Jim Appleman to be assistant state attorney over in Bonifay. Then when Steve Meadows was state attorney, he put me to do the major drug prosecutions throughout the circuit. I got the opportunity to experience prosecuting in Washington County, Holmes, Bay, Gulf, Calhoun, and Jackson counties. I've been the chief assistant state attorney for the past 6 years, in charge of all 6 counties, and I have been the Washington County chief for the past 8 years. I look forward to working with everybody like I have in the past, and I'm here to make sure that we continue to seek innovative changes and progress.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Hess.
Good morning. I'm Glenn Hess. For the last 8 years, I've been your state attorney. For 13 years before that, I was one of our circuit judges. I served 3 of those years right here in the courthouse in Chipley. 8 years ago, you elected me to be your state attorney. I promised to provide the professional and moral leadership that you expect from your state attorney. I also promised to provide a well-trained and effective state attorney's office. We began a training program shortly after I was elected, and I'm proud to say it's had great results. Our lawyers are winning cases at a higher percentage than ever before in this circuit. I understand that there is some concern right now in the community about our criminal justice system and whether it is treating everyone fairly.
10 seconds.
I have a reputation. You know my reputation in Washington County. I've spent a whole career being fair, and I intend to continue to do that as your state attorney.
Thank you, sir. Can everybody hear out there? Okay. First question, and this will start with Mr. Wilson. How aware are you of the statistics for crimes in Washington County, and what is your proposed plan to work with local police and/or sheriff departments?
Well, I can tell you, I don't rely on statistics too much, because depending on who is evaluating the numbers gets the result. What I care about is the sense of security and how the community feels about the performance of the state attorney's office as a prosecutor. What's important is that the cases that are being presented are prosecuted, they're prosecuted in a fair manner, and that the results that are appropriate are obtained. So statistics are important for some things, but when you look at the performance and you look at what's really important, it's the relationships you have. The relationships you have with law enforcement, with the clerk's office, the judges, the victims, victim advocates. Those are the real statistics that matter.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Hess?
Statistics are a management tool. If you have a problem, sometimes statistics will help you identify it. I'm happy to say we don't have a problem in the prosecutor's office here in Washington County. We have a great staff. We have a professional assistant state attorney who leads that staff. We have an excellent investigative staff. The state attorney's office in Washington County has been doing a good job for you. It's been doing a great job for me. And so I'm not worried about the statistics. Performance counts. Performance in the courtroom and performance in the way the community feels about our state attorney's office. And I'm proud to say that we have a great relationship with the citizens of Washington County, and I look forward to continuing that relationship.
Thank you, sir. Next question will be started with Mr. Hess. What is your position concerning juvenile offenders, and what agencies do you plan on partnering with to decrease the chance of them becoming repeat offenders?
You know, back before I was a circuit judge, I was part of the Bay County Juvenile Detention Center Board, and I'm very familiar with the problem that juveniles have growing up in a world like today. We have those who come into the system, they get some correction, and they go on to be very successful. And we have those that come into the system and they keep coming back to the system. We have a very good, dedicated juvenile prosecution staff, and they are working with teen court, they're working with Department of Juvenile Justice, and they're working with other community agencies to see that children receive what they need when they have problems that can be corrected. On the other hand, when we have those juveniles who just insist on becoming criminals, then we have a system that will handle those in the adult sphere. And I can't say enough about the good work that's been done at the juvenile detention center down in Panama City.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Wilson.
I would agree. The relationships that we have with teen court and our juvenile justice personnel is very good. I do recognize that there is an issue with, and this has come up before, about the pipeline to prison, and the issue that having minor offenses which create a record for a person causes problems in the future and leads to probation, leads to reduced employment opportunities, and ends up disproportionately putting people in prison. And I think that you have to partner with the agencies, partner with the community to find out solutions to prevent that from occurring. So the relationships that we have are good. You have to be innovative, you have to be connected with those organizations, find out what the community perception is, and look for ways to prevent having a juvenile's future completely cut off for minor acts.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Wilson, I beg your pardon. Yeah, Mr. Wilson, you'll start this next one. What is the one major change you plan to make if elected, and why?
Well, the first change I'm going to make is I'm going to look at the structure and how we organize and have the attorneys assigned to cases. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to increase our sex crimes unit from 1 prosecutor to 3. The second thing I'm going to do is assign for the first time 1 prosecutor to handle exploitation and abuse of elderly cases. That currently doesn't exist. When you have generalized prosecution to cover multiple cases, that's good. But when you have specialized prosecution to handle specific types of cases that are problems in our communities, that's even better. So the major change I'm going to make right there is to put those programs into place to make sure that our most vulnerable are protected by the resources of the State Attorney's Office.
Mr. Hess.
These are challenging times for the State Attorney's Office. They're challenging times for law enforcement. One of the things that I intend to do, if I'm being reelected, is to begin a program of liaisons. Have one of our investigators go to the Sheriff's Department and ask the Sheriff to send one of his investigators to our office. That way, we'll have a better understanding. There is a difference between what a law enforcement officer does and what a prosecutor has to do to prove a case beyond a reasonable doubt. By joining forces with the Sheriff's Department and having liaisons, we'll get to the point where there's an understanding as to where we need to go from arrest to prosecution to trial. And that way, we'll be ensuring that success continues in our State Attorney's Office.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Hess, you're first on this next question. Considering the racial tension across the states, what will you do to ensure equal justice in the 14th Judicial Circuit, and in our case, specifically Washington County?
I have made a career of being fair, of making sure that the system works fairly. You know my reputation here in Washington County. We have the Black Lives Matter movement. It may be that there is some disagreement as to exactly what that organization is, but there can be no disagreement that there is a problem that we have, that one segment of our community is very aggrieved by, and we need to work with them. Our office has been working with the LEAD Coalition in Panama City. We were at a meeting just the other night where all segments of the community came together to understand and to talk about their different perspectives. We're going to continue to do that. We're going to work with our faith-based community, we're going to work with our community leaders, and we're going to continue to work in a way that they will have faith that at least in the 14th Circuit, everyone is treated fairly.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Wilson.
I would agree. The work with the LEAD Coalition is important, and I think that the most important thing is that the leadership of the state attorney takes the active role and engages and gets with the groups that aren't satisfied with things that are going on in the communities, and make sure that all parties are addressed. Law enforcement perspective, the minority segment perspective, that everybody that needs to be addressed. You need to hear what the concerns are. You don't need to just send liaisons. You need to be the person talking, hearing, listening, finding out what the issues are, being active and being involved in all of our communities. It takes a lot of work, and you have to be able to do that work. Get out there, get out from behind the desk and do it. And that's exactly what I'm going to do as your next state attorney.
Thank you, sir. And this will be our final question for you, Mr. Wilson. You'll be first. Why should we vote for you above all other candidates in this race?
I'm going to be here. I'm here now. I'm going to be here in 4 years. I'm going to be here in 8 years. I'm going to be here in the next 30 years. Raising my children, looking after them, looking after the families, looking after my community. I'm active, I'm engaged. Everything that I've done, I do full-heartedly. I work hard and I strive to increase performance and to push myself and to push the employees to a higher standard. We've got a great team at the State Attorney's Office, but we need to keep pushing. We can't slow down. We can't rest on our laurels. And I'm the candidate that's going to continue to be actively engaged, going to be out there and going to be meeting and talking and finding out how we can find solutions to the issues that we all face. I'm the person for that job, and I'd ask for your vote on August 30th.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Hess.
I have brought to you a career of performance. I have brought to you a career of community leadership. Most importantly, you know who I am. You know the things that I stand for. And you know that I have required those in the State Attorney's Office to adopt those same values. You have seen a marked increase in performance of our State Attorney's Office. You feel better about our State Attorney's Office today than you felt about it in a long time. That didn't happen overnight, and it didn't happen by chance. It happened by leadership with experience, and that's what I bring to you. 30 years of experience as a leader in our community. An understanding of those things that our community cares about, but more importantly, being committed to those values. I'm Glenn Hess, and I ask for your vote August 30th.
Thank you, sir. We decided it would be disingenuous to those who came at the tail end of the forum if we wrapped up each individual race with those closing statements. So that's why we're allowing all candidates to stick around. At the end, they'll all come again back up on the stage to give their closing remarks. In this case, Mr. Hess had a prior engagement, and we certainly know that there's something going on every single day with the candidacies these days. So in that being the case, we're going to allow these candidates to give their closing statements right now. We'll start with Mr. Wilson. You have 1 minute to plead your case. That doesn't mean you have to go home after this, Mr. Wilson. If you want to stick around, you'll be given that opportunity at the end. So, Mr. Wilson, you have 1 minute.
Thank you. Well, first of all, my candidacy is based on my experience, my dedication, my focus. And that focus is the vision for our future. It is what I see needs to happen at the State Attorney's Office. And I've told you already that we need to increase the number of prosecutors handling those two special types of crimes that are so egregious, that require the compassion and a prosecutor that can get the job done. Those are the toughest cases we have. And I think that's the most important thing that my platform offers, is to do that. The things that you hear are going to be done from me as your state attorney. That's what you're going to look to see happen. the things that you're going to hear are going to be done in the future by Mr. Hess, those should have already been done. I'm here to make sure that you know you have a choice in this, and that choice is to continue with progress, to continue to be innovative, to be energized, to be out there, and to be aggressive in making sure that our citizens feel safe, our communities are safer, and everybody has a voice, and everybody has access to the state attorney. I'm the choice for that.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Hess, you have a final word.
This campaign is a contrast between promises and performance. Not only was I on the Juvenile Detention Board, I helped form the Widowed Person Service in Panama City. For years, I served on and I was president of the Bay County Council on Aging. And talking about our veterans, for years, I was the chairman of the Bay County Veterans Memorial Day Observance. For 13 years, we put on an observance that has become one of the finest in the state of Florida. Over 1,000 people attend. As your state attorney, I have done the job that you asked me to do. I've done it well, and I'm going to continue to do that. But most important, you know what I stand for, you know what I've always stood for, and it's not just election year politics.
Thank you, sir. How about a round of applause for our state attorney candidates? Thank you so much. You gentlemen are certainly welcome to stay with us as long as you are able, and I'll ask that the candidates for Washington County Commission District 5 make their way up here as the District 3 candidates are seated at the table. I want to remind you that all proceeds today go to the New Vision efforts, school supplies, as well as scholarships, and they are accepting donations all day long throughout the course of this event today. Certainly nothing more worthwhile than our children, and in both of those cases doing just that. So we appreciate you being here. We also want to mention that some of the candidates who were not able to come still went ahead and made a contribution, and we appreciate that. I think we'll have a list of those candidates before the event is over. So we want to thank them for all of that. Again, we want to encourage you to donate to that cause if you feel so compelled while you're here today. We are now going to hear from our District 3 Washington County Commission candidates. Seated from your left to right, we have James McCall, we have Veronica Jones, we have Trey Hawkins, we have Ike Brown, and we have Al Cowan. This was arguably one of the largest races in the Panhandle with 8 candidates to start with. One candidate subsequently dropped out, and I think we still have 7, and 6 of whom are still in front of us today. So starting with James McCall, we'll give each of you 1 minute to introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is James McCall. I am a resident of Washington County. I've been here for over 40 years. I'm originally from Walton County. I've been married for over 40 years. I'd like to introduce my lovely wife, Vizh-uhn, and she's been with me for over 40 years. I have 20 years of experience in the military. I retired from it, and I also have experience in running the budget. And I want to look at small business and job growth in Washington County and community ties. That's something we need to work on, and we need to work on better internet system in Washington County.
Thank you, and it's nice to know that your wife has been with you for all 40 years that you've been married to her. Ms. Jones.
I guess it's still morning. Good morning, everyone. My name is Veronica Jones. Many of you may not know me. By now, I feel like I know everybody in Washington County. I've been here for 21 years. My husband and I moved up here, and it's a wonderful place to live. On your tables, I'm going to introduce this with an invitation. It's in the mail to everybody in Washington County, but it's also on your tables, okay? That is to a fishing rodeo where all of the candidates, no matter what party affiliation they are invited to. There's a big stump out there where they're going to be allowed to answer any questions you might have. You bring your fishing poles, you bring your lounge chairs, you catch catfish, brim, bass. We want you there. Please come, and then you'll know who I really am and my family. Thanks to Mary Ann for helping me fold all those 10,000 flyers.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Hawkins.
I'm Trey Hawkins. I own John Hawkins Telecom, located in Washington County, Florida. I'm employed with 30 local employees. I've had the pleasure to serve on the Vernon City Council for 2 terms. I live, work, and worship here in Washington County. That's something that's very, very important to me. I love working with the local youth and love working with the business leaders of Washington County to build a better Washington County. It's very important that if you live, work, and worship somewhere that you got ties to it and you got skin in the game. I'll lay out over the next 20 minutes a plan that I have to build a better Washington County, and I enjoyed to talk with you in a personal one-on-one level. It's very tough to convey your message in 1-minute time increments, but I'd like to let you know that one important thing that Washington County needs now is someone in the office that we're not going to look at bringing from the ground up training. Like I said, I can hit the ground running. I have a plan. Economic growth is something that's very important to me, and without a plan, there's no way it's possible. Like I said, I will try to convey my message best I can in 1 minute.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Brown.
My name is Isaac Brown. I graduated from Chipley High in Chipley. Upon graduation, I entered the Marine Corps, where I was honorably discharged as a disabled veteran. Upon being discharged from the Marine Corps, I entered the workforce with the Naval Coastal Systems Center, Spec War Group, and the DoD, Department of Defense. Upon that time of employment, I managed projects, should I say, in components and out of components between basically in the United States and out of the United States, all different countries. And, excuse me, but I retired in 2013 from the Department of Defense. And after retirement, I entered and opened a business, Florida Wings, LLC in Panama City, where I bought and totally refurbished an old establishment and made it.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Cowan.
My name is Arthur Allen Cowan. Some people call me Big Al, some people call me Mr. Al. I graduated from high school in Michigan. 1965, I was drafted into the military, U.S. Army, where I went to Vietnam, served 13 months. I obtained a rank of Sergeant E5, and I was awarded the Bronze Star from the United States Army. By the grace of God and prayers of my mom and dad and other people in church, I came back to the United States. I finished the military service chasing AWOLs out of Detroit, Michigan. In 1968, I graduated from Kellogg Community College. I worked at Post Cereals and was a master electrician. And 1960, well, I married one for over 40-some years. And I'd be glad to be your county commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. McCall, you'll have that first question. Our young people leave Washington County upon graduation to get good-paying jobs. What can you do to bring jobs to Washington County so that our young people can stay in Washington County?
Well, I would like to look at why they're leaving, and do we have the capability to have a better job in Washington County so they don't have to leave? And that's a big issue, not only with the graduation of students that's leaving, also our employees that we employ in Washington County. We have a lot of people that's leaving, going to other counties to work, and we need to do all we can do to try to keep good health here in Washington County. I don't know exactly what we can do at this time. I have to look at what's going on inside the county commissioner's office, speaking from the outside looking in, but that's my goal, is to find out why and how can we keep good health in Washington County.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Jones.
Well, we've been asked this question several times at several different forums. It's a very important question, and I've given it a lot of thought. You know, it's not just roads around here. It's education, revitalization of our small communities. If you look at Caryville, when we were going through the firecracker parade going through Vernon, there were a lot of things that I hadn't really noticed then. We need to worry about that. We need to worry about the future of Wausau. If we can revitalize those places, that will make people want to come here. It will make factories, distribution centers, family-related activity centers, and I can go on. It's in this thing. I have asked and asked and asked people to please call me, 850-258-2860, or send me an email, veronica@voteveronica.com.
Thank you, Mr. Hawkins.
This is one of the things that's near and dear to my heart, economic growth in Washington County. First and foremost, we've got to work, our growth will come from within of our municipalities and it'll grow out. Businesses are going to require major utilities, water, sewer, natural gas, and internet service and three-phase power. We have a memorandum of understanding with the City of Bonifay, Washington, Holmes County, something I'm very proud our current commissioners have done, and with help of a local group. We've got to work, though, coming north out of Vernon. Right now, when I was on the City Council of Vernon, we took a grant on, and we had the forethought to go ahead and put bridge hangers underneath the 79 bridge where we can run water and sewer north of Holmes Creek. Like I said, our growth will come from the inside of our municipalities and grow out. The overlay, something that was very good. We've got to make sure our properties are zoned correctly so we can entertain growth. City of Chipley right now, they're going through the relocation of water lines underneath the I-10. We've got to work.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Brown.
Very good question. As far as keeping and maintaining our young adults here after graduation from the collegiate years, I think it's very important. I think we need to really focus on industry here. And as you know, one of my primary goals is economical growth. Okay, we have the properties and amenities here to attract businesses so that our young adults can stay in Washington County once they graduate. And it really, really is a big concern because I have 3 sons, and I'm just going to touch on one of them. But my youngest son has a resume that goes from Walter Reed to the State Department, or senior by the State Department, and now he's Southeastern Director of the USDA. I would like to keep those kids here.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Cowan.
We presently need to keep our graduate children here. I have a couple of grandkids that needs to have a job here that's worth paying for. But also in our county, we had a job open up for a planning person, and I see now that we have went to Pensacola and let in West Florida handle that job. I don't know why we think that there's not opportunity here for our children when we let it go to Pensacola or somewhere else. We need to bring those jobs back here, and they're high-paying jobs. I think that in Highway 79 and 77, when they get completed, that we'll have access to the county, and people will get from Highway 10 from Alabama and Georgia, and we'll have the number of cars going down the road for the traffic count that restaurants and whatever will want to come into Washington County.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Jones, you'll start off the next round. Grants and other designated monies seem to trickle at a very low rate into the black community. Will you commit to assuring this community of its equal share? And if so, please discuss your intentions.
On my biography, my original biography, and the updated ones, everyone will see and know that I believe with all my heart that each and every person in Washington County and around the world deserves the same opportunities. I did it from the beginning. It's in everything, every single flyer. It's on my website. I do believe in fairness. My son is half black. My grandson is half black. Okay, so I don't have a problem with that, all right? There's a lot of people that do, but I don't. And I want to make sure that everybody receives the same treatment.
Thank you, Mr. Hawkins.
With our grant system, they'll send out a survey group that will poll the communities, and through your FERDAP and your CDBG grants, the monies are actually that you're only allotted into a certain communities that are eligible for the grant. So I will work with our municipalities and see that, that anything that we can use from the county as in-kind matches, that is took care of, and to benefit the entire community. I want to see Washington County grow from the inner out. You know, everybody deserves growth and everybody deserves a well-paying job. To touch back on the first question that we had about economic growth, like I said, it's something near and dear to my heart. I-10 project, getting the utilities south of the interstate, is something that is one of the most important projects that we face in this county. They have already received the grant to put the utilities on the interstate, but we've got to work with them to help them upgrade their water system, or their sewage system, and their spray field, and we can do that as the in-kind match with our equipment, and I look forward to it.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Brown.
As far as assuring that different ethnical backgrounds receive the proper share of monies that's distributed within the county, I feel that as a county commissioner, I will assure that the grants and the budgets or whatever is divided equally, and I will assure that it goes equally into certain areas of the county. I think one of the big things is diversity. You know, if we diversify and we get people in the right places and all, I think a lot of these issues will be worked out.
10 seconds.
And I ask for y'all to vote for Ike Brown in November.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Cowan.
In our county, we need to survey the county to find out what kind of grants are available and what grants are needed. We need to prioritize these and see where the grants should go. This whole place around here has been built by grants. The new school is built by a grant. The courthouse is by a grant. These grants need to be prioritized. We're getting benefits of grants, but they're big grants, and they're helping us as we go along. The schools are all grants. So if I'm elected, I think we ought to prioritize these and go in the direction where we need them in certain areas. And thank you very much. I vote for Al Cowan.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. McCall, you have final word on this question. I don't know that I remember the question. Grants and other designated monies seem to trickle at a very low rate back into the black community. Will you commit to assuring this community of its equal share, and if so, please discuss your intentions?
I can say yes to that. I would make sure that it is equally distributed throughout the county where it needs to be. Not to say that it's just because it's a black community, but if it's needed, it would be, if it's in my power, I would make sure to get there. But I won't go and say just because it's a black area, I'm just going to waste money in there. That's not going to happen. It's going to be equally spread where it's needed at. The other thing is, I like to touch on is, everybody up here on this board got a plan. But your plan is only as good as the other 4 members that you have on the county commission. You're just a person with a plan. So any plan I have has to encompass all other 4 county commissioners to agree to implement it. That's all.
Thank you. We'll now give each candidate 1 minute to close, to wrap up, and to plead for that vote. We're going to start with Mr. Hawkins.
Again, I had a very short time to lay out my intentions to the county if I am elected your county commissioner. I'd like to talk to each one of you direct on one-on-one, but like I said, we got 357 lots in Sunny Hills that's owned by the county. We have got to look at ways to fund our county some other way than just strictly on an ad valorem basis and strictly praying that we get a grant to fund these facilities. It wouldn't be nice for us to be able to actually build something that, like they did the community center at Campbell Park, in these areas that we are paying for solely, so we can build it just according to how the Washington County will need. So I urge you to please talk with me and sit down and get a good idea of where we need to go with Washington County and how to make Washington County a sole community that can fund its own self from the inside out. And again, like I said, just please remember August the 30th, if you will, vote for Trey Hawkins, District 3 County Commissioner.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Brown.
As I said earlier, I was born and raised here in Washington County. So I have a strong value for Washington County. And I ask all of y'all to vote for me. I need your vote. What I bring to the table is years of experience. During my employment in the Department of Defense, again, I have the experience of management. I have the experience of working with people. I have the experience to continue to grow Washington County. Washington County is a great county. I love it. Born and raised here. Graduated from high school here. Of course, I had to go off to work, but I returned here, me and my family. I ask for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Cowan.
I feel that I have a good background, the best background on the stage up here in the county government and businesses. I have been on the planning board for 14 years. That is a voluntary position. It is not a paid position. I have served, and what the planning board does is they send, well, any request comes to the planning board, they evaluate it, make sure it meets the zoning, and send it to the county commissioners. Now, I'd like to serve on the other part of that as the county commissioners, and not just serve there, but make sure we get things done. I'm willing to be a full-time county commissioner. So please vote for Al Cowan. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. McCall.
Well, one thing I do have, that I know I have leadership. I'm a retired first sergeant for the Army. I led men into war. I was in 2 conflicts. I lost a couple of soldiers, but that was, things happen. I retired from the military and went into the DOD. I was a captain on security, the Navy installation on Panama City. So everywhere I've been a leader. So I know how to lead. I know how to manage the budget. I've managed a budget of $2.5 million for over 10 years. So I have no problem with that. I can make a decision, and I don't wear my feelings on my sleeve. The other thing is, I'm a member of the NRA. I believe in our Second Amendment. And if you vote for me, I guarantee you got somebody that will fight for you and won't quit. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Jones, you have final word.
It's always good to go last. At any rate, I want you to know for sure that I am a working business person. I've been that way since I was 12 years old. I'm soon to be 68. In 1948, November 2nd was an election day. I believe this November is going to be a great election day as well. I want you to think very hard. This is a privilege and a right that you have to place that vote. Make sure you understand what everybody up here in all of the races is telling you. If you have a question, contact them. They need to answer to you. There's no handouts going to be given. There can't be. Everybody has to work in this together. And I believe that if you let me be a county commissioner in District 3, that I can work towards that goal to help you do that. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. How about a round of applause for all of our District 3 County Commission candidates? You are all invited to stick around until the end when you'll have another opportunity to speak. I'd ask our District 5 County Commission candidates to make their way to the table and ask our Clerk of Circuit Court candidates to make their way up here. And if my wife would make her way up here as well, please. Sorry for that interruption. I forgot I had left a pan of soup on the stove at the house. We now are entertaining the candidates for District 5, Washington County Commission race. We have James Guy, Steve Joyner, John Harmon, and Lynn Gothard. We do have We're missing one candidate. That's right. Ron Jones actually sent us a message saying that he extended his apologies. He was not able to make this tonight due to other obligations. You will all have 1 minute at this point to introduce yourself. We'll start with James Guy.
Thank you. My name is James Guy. I'm 71 years old, born in Wausau. I moved back to Washington County 35 years ago. I am a retired general contractor where we had over 100 employees, been successful. I have retired from the post office. Also, I formed Shepherd's Gate Church Incorporation 16 years ago, and our main function at that church is to help the elderly and the young. We distribute food throughout this county to over 600 families every month. This morning we had a food giveaway where we distributed over 100 families their food. I have a contract with Walmart here where we pick up over 250,000 pounds every year, and we distribute it equally throughout the county. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Joyner.
Good morning. I appreciate this opportunity to be here. I'm Steve Joyner. I've lived here all my life. I'm a taxpayer of this county for 60 years. I've been here. I understand this county. I like this county. I've been in business for 32 years. I have extensive background in business, employed people, employed and supervised hundreds of people during that 32 years. I spent 2 years as the interim county manager here and got some good budget experience during that time and some good experience with the county. So I have the knowledge of the budget and the way this county is set up and run, and as a taxpayer, I'm familiar with what we need here. We need to grow this economy and take advantage of every opportunity we have to keep jobs and get all the jobs that's available. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Harmon.
My name is John Harmon here. In the school for a second time. In fact, my grandfather started this school, T.J. Rolack. I graduated from Chipley High School, attended the college in Gainesville. I came back to take care of my mother and father before they passed away. And I really would like to be your county commissioner. And I have a plan. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And Lynn Gothard.
I'm Lynn Gothard. I'm currently the County Commissioner for District 5. I too was born and raised in Washington County, went to Kate Smith Elementary, Rolack, and graduated from Chipley High School. My husband Al and I live just south of Wausau. I have 3 children and 7 grandchildren. Both of my parents live here, 2 of my siblings and their families, so I'm invested in Washington County. I love living here, never wanted to leave, and have been, it's my pleasure to have served as your county commissioner for the last 4 years and hope to be able to do it for 4 more.
Thank you, ma'am. And Mr. Guy, the first question is yours. Provide 1 or 2 specific examples of the way you plan to improve the county should you be elected to office.
One of the main and important improvements is the infrastructure here in Chipley, Florida. We cannot get any high-paying businesses in our area until we make it an acceptable place for them to come and want to establish some type of business in this area. If for some reason we can't get that business here, then we should work with the counties where there's only minimum driving time. We can work with Holmes County, Jackson County, and a good example of that is our own hospital. Over 50% of the people who work in the hospital in Washington County are from other counties and even from Alabama. So we need high-paying jobs, and one of the things is that infrastructure here and to improve the fire, emergency services, and police protection in the south end of the county for the growth.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Joyner.
Well, I do agree. We need to work with infrastructure here south of the interstate, 79 and lower part of the county on 77 here. We've got a possibility of potential growth in all those areas, and we need to have this county in a position financially. We need to work with the budget to set up contingencies, to have monies available to attract these businesses and to help them when it comes time to attract those and help them move in here, we can do that with proper financing. The county needs to be financially sound. It's been in debt for so many years that we've been strapped and just couldn't spend money on these projects that we could attract, and we had to put the county in such a debt that it just doesn't free up enough money to have money to work with. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Harmon.
Yes.
Oh, I beg your pardon? Provide one or two specific examples of ways in which you would improve the county should you be elected to this office.
Well, how to improve the county, one way is we need to employ Washington County citizens. Like Mr. Cowan said last other time, that when we go out and we recruit other people from other counties, that means our money's leaving from this county to another county, and we can't have that. I got a few plans here. Is we got a business recruitment plan, with enterprise Florida plans, rural Florida plans, and keep Florida working plans. I don't have time to go through all of this information, but that's what we need to do.
Thank you, Ed Goffin.
Well, I think too we have to work on the infrastructure. You know, for the first time ever in the 4 years that I've been a commissioner with our board, we've committed almost $2 million to economic development. It's never been done before, at no increase in taxes to the taxpayer. That's a huge thing. We can take that money and we can borrow if we need to. We can use it as match for money. But working with the city of Bonifay and the Holmes County, just a recent partnership that we signed an agreement, the three of us together. We've already got a business lead for the south end of Highway 79 for that corridor there, and we're working closely with the city of Bonifay. We can do the same thing with Chipley if we can all come together. We've not had a lot of conversations with the city of Chipley, but the next 4 years I hope we can change that. And I think the county can help the city be able to get the infrastructure they need south of 77. The other thing I want to do is that we've got to improve our emergency services. I've been very vocal about that the 4 years I've been in here. We've got to do things more efficient, and there's a way to do that if we can bring everybody to the table.
Thank you, ma'am. And Mr. Joyner, you'll start the next round. Every elected county commissioner promises to boost the economy with more jobs. Every year that promise is broken. How do you propose to bring in new industry?
Well, there again, I don't think the promise has been broken that much. It's the economy as a whole. We have to look at it nationwide, and we've always been affected here, it seems like, first. And Washington County is not, we're rich in a lot of areas, but with jobs and businesses and industry, we're not that rich there. But we do have a lot of good jobs here and a lot of good businesses. And I'd like to take care of those. We'd like to grow those businesses as best we can. If we have an opportunity to capture a new business, I want to be able to help bring them in and try to give these people jobs that will sustain them and be able to keep them here so we can grow our tax base. That tax base is what we need to increase so we'll have more money to invest into these opportunities that we have.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Harmon.
Yes. On growing the economy, this is things I jotted down. By working with the state, House representatives for districts and local state senators, lobbying the U.S. representative to act on a specific program outlined to encourage economic growth throughout the region, including our own local economy. Lobby to have a global program world with local government is promised and local business growth by a way of various incentives, loans, tax breaks, and training programs. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Goffard.
Well, you know, one of the things I thought when I became a commissioner, and I was very bold about saying I wanted to grow jobs, is I thought if we ask them, they will come. That's just simply not true. If that's true, nobody would have unemployment. But what we have done over the past 4 years is work closely with the Economic Development Council in putting the strategic plan in place to get businesses to come to our county. And that planning was never done in the past. You have to plan if you want businesses to come to your county. You have to have a shovel-ready site or a site that has infrastructure already in place The county hasn't done that. You have to have the correct zoning of the land. The county hasn't done that. They had not committed any money towards economic development. So because whatever you want to develop, you have to have some money up front. And our commission has changed all of those things. We're working diligently to actually put the plan in place to get a business here, and I believe that we're going to do it. Whether it's on the 79 corridor in Bonifay or south of the interstate, if we continue to strategically plan, put the steps in place, we're going to be able to.
Thank you, ma'am. And Mr. Guy, you have final word on this question.
On the radio, the Family Dollar store has advertisements saying we have positions for all 3 shifts. They cannot get enough people in Mariana. The prison in Greenhead had their first job fair last Saturday, putting people to work immediately with no training, could not get enough people to work. The beer distribution plant in Ebro has openings all the time. They cannot get anybody to apply. So the question is, do we really need new jobs, or you know, a lot of those people who go apply for those jobs, they fail the drug test and can't take it. So I think the problem is a lot bigger than jobs. I think we need to go back to the root of our children and these young people and let them know when you use drugs, you're not going to get a good job. And we need some positions, and with the infrastructure here in Chipley, we can get these high-tech jobs that pay top dollar for our college graduate kind of people. And thank you.
Thank you, sir. That wraps it up for you guys. We ask you to stick around, and you'll be given some time at the end of the entire event to do some closing statements. With the acquiescence of our clerk of court candidates, I would ask, I would ask that you guys stay seated just for a moment. I'm sorry I didn't get to finish my statement because I was rudely interrupted by the applause out here. And I apologize. I didn't say, please give a round of applause to our District 5 Commissioner candidates. Ask Mr. Westbrook to come on up here. I am presuming that we do not have Bev Kilmer or Brad Drake in attendance. Because of that, and Mr. Westbrook has other events that he needs to attend to, we've asked him to come on up and have a seat. And I apologize your patience with us, clerk of court candidates. We have Mr. Westbrook, who is running for State Representative District 5. Again, his opponents are Bev Kilmer and Brad Drake, neither one of which I think we've heard from. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. We have not received anything from them. That said, we do have some questions conveniently crafted for you, sir. Do you support, I beg your pardon, I'll give you a minute first, Mr. Westbrook, to introduce yourself.
Whatever way you do it, that'd be fine. I appreciate the opportunity to come. I'm Jamie Westbrook. I'm from Jackson County, Florida. We have a district from Jackson, Washington, Holmes, Walton, and a small amount of Bay. I'm a taxpayer right here in Washington County, just like I am in Jackson County. I appreciate each and every one of you. I served in Florida legislature in 97, 98, and I represented Washington County just like I did the other counties, even though you couldn't vote for me. I created a couple of programs there. One called the Scrap Program that I think Washington County lives off every day. I created that with the help of Edward Prescott, who I'm sure most every one of you know, that basically on secondary paved roads, when they repaved them, the county got half the money from the state. I'm proud of that. I did a lot to make that happen, and I'm very glad that you could use it. Also, we had a sparsely funded issue for all the schools. We had.
Thank you, sir. And you can use the next few minutes to address what you will. Realizing that some of these questions may be outside the purview of the job for which you're applying, do you support Obama health care or the Affordable Health Care Act and its policies, and what are your intentions as far as the level of influence that you might have in the position for which you're running for these health care plans?
Well, first of all, I support affordable health care for everyone. Health care is one of the main issues that we have in a community anywhere. I passed legislation for small hospitals when I was in the legislature before, and health care is just as important in Wausau as it is in Pensacola. But at the same time, it has to be affordable to everybody, and every one of us watch every day when we get a bill. And I just got one a few days ago for a person that I didn't want to claim on my workers' comp because it'd make it go sky high. and it was about $5,000 for about an hour stay for one of my employees. So I would address that, and there is some issues for that in the state, even though that's a federal issue, there is some issues there. So I would support health care that was affordable.
Again, within the purview of the office for which you're running, and considering the racial climate, what are your thoughts about your influence, and what can you do, if anything, to help keep the citizens of this county, and certainly within the counties which you will represent, more in harmony?
Well, that's a good question, and I appreciate having an opportunity to try to answer it. First of all, I was a sports official for many years, and I relate to the same thing as Coach Bear Bryant said. When they asked him how many black players he had, he said he didn't have any. He had all players. I subscribe to the same theory. And I've lived a life of sports officiating back in the years gone by. I never called anywhere that I couldn't go back and officiate again. I might not have pleased but half of them when the game was over, but I had it that way. My wife's also a school principal, and she served a whole 40 years of teaching school and helping people, and she treated everybody the same. That would be mine.
Looking at Florida Representative District 5, the seat for which you're running, why should these voters support you versus the other candidates running for that job?
Well, that's a good question again. First of all, I'll be transparent. I will not run a bill, nor will I support a bill that does not support the Panhandle of Florida. That is the most important part of it. The other part is I'll work harder, I'll do more. I was a legislator of the year in about 5 or 6 or 7 different categories the first year I was there. And for that, it was stuff like Florida Association of Counties. All the people that I was legislative year for had no money to donate me. I don't care if you don't donate me money. I'm not interested in a lobbyist to start with. But Florida Sheriff Association, Small Schools Consortium, Florida Association of County, and I keep right on naming Florida Fishermen Federation, and I don't even remember all of them. But anyway, that was for small counties and rural people who had no money to contribute to a campaign, which I didn't need anyway. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. What are your plans to ensure that Northwest Florida, and in our case, Washington County specifically, remains strong financially?
Well, I would answer that by the same thing as I told you about the scrap program. The scrap program was something that relieved money from the counties, and I know Washington County has really used that a lot. But there'll be other things as well, as any special appropriation that I can get. Another one I helped with all our, when we were ag centers, even though Washington County, I don't know how much they got in those days, but certainly the ones across the Panhandle got a lot, just to have a place for us to meet. But I'd always be in support of them, and I'd always let you know, and the people in this community, or any community that I serve, just what I'm doing with it. And you would be proud of that and not ashamed of that. And you could vote for me and not have to apologize for your vote.
Thank you, sir. And this will be your final question. Our young people leave Washington County upon graduation to get good-paying jobs elsewhere. What can and will you do to bring jobs to Washington County in our general area, should you be elected?
Well, I would hope we would have a zero unemployment, but I don't think that'll ever be possible. There's certain people you couldn't give them a job if you give them one in a pie factory sampling pies. But at the same time, I would want everyone to have a good job. And the work that we need to do is not something that's already upon us, but something that's in front of us, something we know that's coming, to go ahead and have a training, having these community colleges across the Panhandle, so as to where when they did want a job, that they, even though it might be minimal amount of education, that they could start out with a job that would pay more than any kind of anything close to a minimum wage.
Thank you, sir. And being that you have to leave, we'll give you another minute to wrap up and explain to these folks here today exactly why they should vote for you.
Well, and I thank you for that, and I thank you for the forum and your consideration. The main thing that I would mention to anybody in this room that you don't support me or whoever you support. You look at the person that's worked, always had a job. I sign the front of a paycheck and not the back of one. If you'll support me, I'll promise you again, it'll be transparency. You'll know what bill I run, what bill that I'll fight, because I'm not afraid to stand up. I stood up before and never you doubt one time, each individual person in here, that I won't stand for your best interest. I won't be interested in Orlando or Miami. I'll be interested in the Panhandle, Florida.
Thank you, sir. Round of applause for Jamie Westbrook. We'll now ask the candidates for Clerk of Circuit Court and Comptroller for Washington County to make their way, while School Board District 2 makes their way up to the stage. And we do have all three candidates for School Board District 2. Mr. Harrell, glad to see you could make it. You know, it seems like every time you turn around, there's another forum, there's another political rally, there's another debate of some kind. I get blamed for a lot of them because I get sucked into the role in which you see me up here today. But I appreciate the attendance, and I have to tell you that online, the views, either through Facebook, the website, or YouTube, tremendous, thousands and thousands of views, and this race that from whom we're going to hear the two candidates at this moment has been one of the most highly contested and most highly viewed online. Immediately following their debate at the Chipley Kiwanis Club back some time ago, I believe that we had upwards of 3,000 or 4,000 views almost immediately. So that was interesting. We have Ms. Laura Bell, who's the incumbent, and we have Stephanie Blankenship, who is also running for that job. We'll start with you, Ms. Bell. You'll have 1 minute to introduce yourself.
First of all, let me say thank you to Deborah Brown and New Vision for having us here today. It's a great opportunity to be able to come and speak with you. I am Laura Bell. I'm honored to serve as your Clerk of Court and Comptroller. I've been able to do that for the last 20 months. We were in a midterm election in 2014. Very thankful to be a part of our office. I am a resident of Washington County, been here for 48 years, married to my husband next month, 35 years, Dwight. We have 3 children and 8 grandchildren. We're very community oriented. Our kids went to school here. We've been in the community and been involved for many years. I began my work in the clerk's office in 2003 under the leadership of Ms. Linda Cook. And so I've been there for 13 years, and as I said, served as your clerk for 20 months. Prior to that, I was chief deputy for 2 years before that. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Blankenship.
I'm Stephanie Blankenship. I also want to say thank you to New Vision for hosting this event and to each of you for coming out and participating. We always appreciate the opportunity to meet with you and discuss our platform. I'm running because I feel like the clerk's office needs new leadership. I want to make real positive and progressive changes to the clerk's office that will improve the services provided to the citizens of the county. I want to improve the training and knowledge of the deputy clerks that serve those citizens. And I also want to improve accountability and provide greater clarity to the financial budgets for the constitutional offices that the clerk maintains those budgets for. I want to make Washington County the county that the other 66 clerks look to for experience, leadership, and service, and provide them with a place to go to see how a clerk's office should be ran.
Thank you. A caveat about the questions. We are asking all questions as submitted, with the exception of those which may be mean-spirited. And that said, these are as submitted by the audience today and prior to this event. Ms. Bell, you'll go first. There seems to be a disproportionate racial balance of employees in the court system in Washington County. To what do you attribute this, and are jobs publicly posted?
I will tell you that yes, we have advertised on our website when we've needed applications for employment. With having the transition that we've had recently over the last 20 months, We have not had a lot of applications that we didn't already have in place. Prior to me coming on, we had an interim clerk for 11 months who had advertised some positions, and we had applications on file that we were able to choose from also. Yes, I feel like everybody is equal. That's one of the things that I stood for when we came in office, that we would all be treated equal, as well as the public. Anyone that comes in that's interested, I'd be more than happy to take your information. Of course, we have to base on experience and work ethic. That type of thing is so important in our office. And once again, accountability. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Blankenship.
Can you repeat that question?
Yes. There seems to be a disproportionate racial balance of employees in the court system in Washington County. To what do you attribute this, and are jobs publicly posted?
Because I'm not currently inside the clerk's office, I don't feel that I can accurately respond to who is employed there at this time. I will say that it is my belief that race does not belong on a job application.
You're welcome to use your minute in any way you like. Okay. This one you will start, Ms. Blankenship. There are a number of benefits within the court system at no cost, of which the general public may not be aware. How do you plan on educating the public?
I would like to improve the self-help center inside the clerk's office and also work with our local agencies, the public library, the civic organizations, and go to those organizations and provide a training day there, provide a day where we can invite the public to come in and show them what paperwork we provide at the clerk's office, how we can assist them with filing, other agencies that we can assist them with getting in contact with, such as legal aid or Salvation Army if they need assistance in that area. Just to really reach out to the community and provide examples of what the clerk's office can do.
Thank you, ma'am. And Ms. Bell?
Okay. We actually have been reaching out. These last months of transition have made a lot of change for our office and change for a positive outreach for our community as well as the customers, the people that need us every day. We realize that we are a public office and that should be a public trust where anyone feels comfortable to come in and reach out to our staff, let us help you with anything we can, and along with that, to go out in the community and to be at events and to be able to offer up our services. Our lobby in the new courthouse will be moving in September. We have a customer service lobby that will have 4 workstations for the public to come in and be able to access our records in the lobby of the courthouse, in the clerk's office. We'll have someone there to assist you also, and we'll also have information on public services, not just through our office, but through the whole county. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Blankenship. Oh, I beg your pardon. I'm homogenizing or combining several questions which are all fairly similar here. And Ms. Bell, you'll actually go first on this one. Why should the voter vote for you rather than the other candidate? And what do you offer as clerk of the court that makes a difference?
As I said, it has been an honor to me to be a part of this. I ran because it was in my heart to run. I had had faith and trust put in me to be able to take the place of our successor, Miss Linda Cook, which was just a huge insight for me in many years prior to that. I feel like that the changes that have been made in our office, there's been a huge transformation. We are a positive agency with a work staff and a team that is amazing. I have some of them here today. I'm so thankful for every one of them, and we're a great team working together. We know why we're there. We're there to serve you. It's your office. It's not our office. We're very thankful to be there for you every day. We love what we do, and we'd love to be able to continue exactly what we've been doing and continue to make progress as well. Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Blankenship.
As you've heard today from many of your county commission candidates, one of their goals is to bring jobs to Washington County to bring the next generation back to Washington County so that Washington County can grow. You have an opportunity to do that in November. I graduated from Chipley High School. I went on to Florida State University to get my bachelor's degree, and I received a degree in communication. After graduating and having my daughter, I made the choice to come back to Washington County and raise her here and live here and work here. You have the choice to put the money, or put your money where your mouth is, and put someone who is in that new generation in the office to show that Washington County can grow and Washington County can be a leader in our community. You have the choice, and I encourage you, and I would appreciate your support in November.
Thank you, ma'am. And final question, Ms. Blankenship, you will go first. Describe the qualities of an effective leader necessary for the position for which you run.
An effective leader must be able to listen. They must be able to empathize with the person who they're dealing with. They must have a strong support system around them, and they must be able to put themselves in the position of those whom they lead. They have to be able to know what the person is going through. They have to be able to feel what they're feeling, and they have to know where they've been. A leader should always listen before they make any decision. They should take everything into account before they make a decision, and remember that the best thing to do is what's good for everyone and not always good for yourself.
And Ms. Bell.
I think that we can definitely say that we have experienced the true meaning of leadership as a group. I am so thankful to have been able to be a part of what we've seen happen in our office. And leadership to me means that you put yourself on everyone's level, that you're not any better than anybody else, that you won't ask your staff to do anything that you wouldn't do. Also to show them that you're a part of what they do every day. I encourage them, we encourage each other. We have a work family. It's not just a group of employees that are there every day. We're a family, and we work together in everything we do. We encourage each other. I tell them we will take constructive criticism every day because it only makes us better. Anything that we can do to make our office better and our service to you better is what we want. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. And if we did ask you that you stick around, you have the opportunity to address this crowd at the very end. Big round of applause, please, for Washington County Corporate Court candidates. As School Board District 2 candidates make their way to the dais, would ask that School Board District 3 candidates make their way up to the stage. Joe Taylor, are you out there? Come on up here, sir. Superintendent of School Joe Taylor asked that he have a couple of minutes to share with you. Do you want me to hand you a mic down, or would you prefer to come up?
Everyone may want to take note of this. If you don't have an opponent, they treat you different, and I like that. I like not having an opponent. I am superintendent of schools. I want to tell you quickly about myself. A lot of you may not know this. I graduated Vernon High School. I spent 4 years in the Army. Went to the University of West Florida. My degree and everything is in accounting, finance, those type things. I've been a county finance officer. I've been a controller of a hospital. I spent 4 years as assistant director of finance for the school district, and then 8 years as director of facilities and operations for the school district. It has been an incredible 3 years and 8 months, 3 years and 9 months. The truth of the matter is I can give it to you today. That I've experienced. That there's lots of things and changes that come about, and probably that minute is up. Are there any questions here? I'll be happy to take it quickly. Yes, Tom.
You know what to go with.
I do.
We would like to know when we're going to get free lunch again around this county.
What he's talking about, we tried a program for a thing, and it's socioeconomic based upon Title I schools. And those who may or may not be familiar with those, each of your school's percentages is given a certain flat rate amount. If it goes above that amount, 60%, 80%, whatever the case may be, that school could be eligible for free lunch, free breakfast for every student that's there, no applications, no nothing. Okay. The downside to that is our schools are not the same, they're not homogeneous. And so what you would end up with is 2 or 3 schools that might be eligible and then 3 or 4 who are not. It also affects grants and things where they come through, and you've always heard Title I, you've heard that for every grant application. You ever heard that? What's your free and reduced lunch percentages? When you run that up, you lose that figure and then you suffer in other areas. So until they change the rules, we're going to be right where we are now with applications. A couple quick programs I do want to talk about. My door's always open. My office is a couple blocks down that way. I'm happy to talk to anyone about concerns that they may have. By all means, we are starting an after-school program when school starts back, 21st Century Grant. We are going to serve 3rd through 5th graders 3 hours, 5 days a week in the afternoon. We did this several years ago. We will have community bus stops. More than likely, this will be one of them, which will be rolled out that we can tap through. Yes, sir.
What are we going to do to get minority teachers out?
In the minority, we advertise everywhere that we can advertise for. I'm beginning to have real concerns, not only on the minority piece, because it's very true. When you talk minority, when you look at the Washington County School District, currently we are about, I would say, 73% white, the balance 27% minority. And the reason I break it down like that is that because now you have black, you also have multiracial. And we have a very high percentage of those. And when you look at DOE's websites, you look at the Washington County School District, if you're not careful, you can get caught up in that. But basically, we have right about, and that would be others, which is multiracial, that's how you want to look at it, black and Hispanic. We have about 27. We have about 7% to 8% teachers who are minority. Go ahead. Excuse me? Yes, well, that's what I'm saying. So when I say minority, and you're concerned on that, when I say that, I'm counting all those groups. So, you asked how we do this. Jackson County has a 4-year teaching program in Chipley. Every minority student they had graduated, Jackson County hired them. Okay? So it's a very thing that they can do. We are trying to set up, and we've worked with FAMU in the past, because it's important to us. You, me, everyone, you feel comfortable when you see people who look like you around you making decisions. You're more comfortable with those. As parents, and I am a parent, I have a 19-year-old. I've been married for 27 years, I may not have mentioned that. But even when I dealt with my own daughter who graduated May before last, it's important. And I kept a very arm's length distance, or I did my best to, in Vernon High School where she went to school, so there was no confusion. Dealing with us as an education system is extremely intimidating, and if no one is there that looks like you or you think you can relate to it, it makes it even worse. I am aware of that. But we will continue to push that program. The other part of it, when I say all teachers, our schools of education numbers are dropping drastically, all of them. Okay. Tallahassee, law of unintended consequences or whatever, the changes in the education things and what they've done to teachers over the last 10 years is beginning to affect people who want to go into the system. I would encourage everyone who is here, first I want you to support the schools, more so than anything else. Second thing, encourage talented students, talented children, students, whatever you may see, to go into education. Because the University of West Florida, their program is almost wiped out from education. They have no entrance anymore. Chipotle had the lowest graduating class they ever did. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I am concerned about the number of minority students that are in the 3rd grade, the percentage of minority students in 3rd grade, and the percent of the students that graduate in 12th grade.
We have a lot of studies.
Will you repeat her question, Joe?
She is concerned, I believe, about the number of the 3rd grade minority students they're doing, and then what happens to their graduation numbers when it comes time to graduate. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay. Lots of studies have shown if you're not at a level at 3rd grade, you're not going to graduate. I mean, that's the bottom line of that. Agree or disagree, that's what pretty much drives the state of Florida. Our graduation rates within the county are not good. We're at about 70%. Now your problem, or not a problem, is the avenues of education that are today are so much more than what 15 years ago. You have virtual education, you have charter schools, you have private schools, you have homeschool. There's about 5 or 6 different delivery methods that can come to an education. The thing of it with a high school diploma, the Washington County School District is the only game in town. Okay, if you leave out of Washington County, you do not have a high school diploma, you will not go into the military. Not until you have about 15 hours of college credit. So our numbers are low. We're trying to do it, and this 3rd through 5th grade after-school program is something that we've applied for in trying to change that.
Thank you, Joe. How about a big round of applause for our superintendent of schools, Joe Chipley. Thank you. Mr. Sakaya, what time is your Holmes County event?
Actually, about a half hour ago.
Okay, I'll tell you what, with your forbearance, Mr. Sakai, why don't you come on up here. You are the only one in that Congressional District 2 race who is here. The price for you to come up early is that you're going to be standing in front of the stage with a microphone versus seated. If you are good with that, just come over here and I'll give you a microphone. This is Ken Sakai, currently running for Congressional District 2. You'll have 1 minute to introduce yourself.
Okay, thank you very much, Paul. My name's Ken Sakaya. I've been in North Florida for 38 years, and I served as the United States Attorney here for the Northern District of Florida under the first President Bush. I looked at our country and I just felt that it was heading in the wrong direction. I just don't want to get to the end of my life and feel that when the foundations were being attacked, I didn't do my part to defend them. And I'm very sincere in that, and that's the reason I've entered the race. My wife Susan is back here, my dear and lovely wife Susan. Susan, could you stand up? That's Exhibit A, there she is. So I've been fighting for a lot of conservative causes my whole life, and fought Planned Parenthood in defense of the Parental Notice of Abortion Act in Florida. Went to Washington to fight for the Internet Decency Act because I had boys of my own. Fought in the 2000 recount battle, handled the military ballot case on behalf of George W. And thank you.
Thank you, sir. First question, do you support the Affordable Health Care Act and the policies associated with what is commonly called Obamacare, and what are your intended health care plans if you're elected?
Yeah, I don't support the Affordable Care Act. I have had issues myself with that act. I had a policy that we have that cost us $1,293 a month. And then they wrote us and said, oh, that policy is no longer available. We'll put you in a comparable policy, and that was $1,691 a month. And then the 3rd year, they said, oh, that policy is not available. We'll put you in a comparable policy, and that was $2,100 a month. So they're charging us $25,000 a year for health insurance that used to cost us no more than $12,000 a year. And that's just one example. I think there are other ways to do this. I think the biggest problem is the lack of competition. And I feel strongly about that. I looked at it and I feel like if you look at the surgeries, yeah. Did you say that? Oh, I'm sorry. If you look at the surgeries for plastic surgery, voluntary, there's no insurance involved. There's no government involved.
This next question actually segues into that, Ken. Will your proposed plan allow those at or below poverty level to have some level of affordable health care?
Yes, absolutely. And even in the past, there have been, the reason that I think the biggest lobbyists in favor of the Affordable Health Care Act were the hospitals and the healthcare industry and the insurance industry, because they felt they could benefit from it. But from the standpoint of providing people who can't otherwise afford a hospital care and health care, that has to be done and has been done and was done in the past. Now, there are issues, serious issues about I think, over expenditures on the part of the health industry. And this is what I was saying. When you look at the plastic surgeries, they've all gone down in price dramatically. At the same time that every other procedure in the medical field has gone dramatically up in price. So I don't know that there are any easy answers. I don't think any of us have those, and I don't purport to. But I feel like competition is important.
Thank you, sir. Within the purview of Congressional District 2 representative seat, how can you and how do you plan, should you be elected, to ensure Florida remain a strong financial state? And as it pertains to us here at home, how can that translate to Washington County?
You know, this is just such a hugely difficult issue. I've looked at the statistics, you know, for Washington County. And for every one of the small counties, you know, this is a huge district I'm running for. There are 19 counties. It takes 6.5 hours to drive from one side of it to the other. And it's really disconcerting because it gives you a glimpse when you look at each one of those counties at the difficulty our country is in because of, I think, the policies that have been adopted not just by the Democrats but by the Republicans in Washington. The excessive, oppressive governmental regulation. The fact that the government has developed a welfare system that does not encourage work. And I think it's very disconcerting that in this county there's almost 30% of the folks in this county are on welfare, 26%. And then you look at the number of people who are employed and how they're employed. Most are employed by the state or the federal government. So we're moving rapidly toward a socialist, secular government. And I think that's extremely troubling, and it should be to all of us.
Thank you, sir. Before you have your minute, we want to tell you thank you very much for your graciousness of attending. Again, we know that there's lots going on and that you are in a hurry. We're going to give you 1 minute to wrap up and explain why we should vote for you.
Well, Paul, thank you so very much, and thank you all very much. I really appreciate it, and I am the only, I can say this, I'm the only candidate who has actually fought for any of the conservative causes I hold dear. As the United States Attorney for this district, I put terrorists behind bars, and I will continue to fight against terrorism. As the United States Attorney, I enforce the immigration laws. I was endorsed by Senator Sessions recently because of that, I believe, because of my concern about the immigration issues. I felt strongly about Obamacare, but I didn't just do nothing. I fought Obamacare. I assisted the legal team in fighting Obamacare 6 years ago when we took it to the Supreme Court. I've been fighting federal regulations for 23 years as an attorney representing clients. I fought for the Internet Decency Act. I fought Planned Parenthood in an intense 8-day trial defending the Parental Notice of Abortion Act. I fought for the causes I believe in. I feel strongly that we need to hire people for Washington who've actually demonstrated their faithfulness and loyalty to these issues by fighting for them their whole lives. And so I thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Interestingly, when we did the CD2 debate at the Vance Theater, Ken pointed out that it was one of the few debates which he attended where we got his name right, which is really a shame. But thank you so much to you and your wife both for being here today. Okay, thanks also to our candidates for your patience. We're a little bit behind schedule, but not bad. We're within the parameters, I think, and we're doing well. At this point, we're going to hear from the District 2 Washington County School Board candidates. You're going to have 1 minute to introduce yourself. We have Travis Mask, Jerry Harrell, and Luke Cleveland, and we'll start with Mr. Mask. 1 minute, sir.
Thanks. Hello, I'm glad to be here. Thank you for the invitation. And my name is Travis Mask, and I came today applying for a job. I currently work for the city of Panama City Beach, and I've been there for 9.5 years. And in the time that I've been there, I've been saved for 13 years, and I'm pastor in Shepherd's Gate Church in Sunny Hills. I've done quite a bit of work for this school system. I currently help facilitate and organize the backlot services for Vernon High School. We pastor in the southern part of the county, so the northern part of the county is covered by Chipley's Ministerial Association, so we do down there. I've provided food and other accessories for the school system, been to many of the different sporting events, supplied donations for counseling, for project graduation, different things to do with the school. I'm very passionate with the school, so I'm looking to quit the job on the beach so that I can be here.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Harrell.
Thank you very much. My name is Jerry Harrell, and I've had the honor and privilege to teach right here in Washington County for 35 years. I teach automotive collision. I taught high school kids and adults. I served 10 years as a pastor here in Chipley, 9 years in the military where I was an engineer department head. While I served here in Washington County as a teacher, I was a department head, teacher, mentor. So I've been a leader for the last several years, dating back to 1974 when I went into the military. I've been a foster parent, little league coach, t-ball coach. I've had enjoyment working with kids of all ages. And we have to understand that Chipley now, Washington County School Board, is a national school because we're putting in students from all over the Southeast and teaching them a job. We're giving people that dropped out of school an opportunity to get a high school diploma. We're giving college students that didn't have a job an opportunity to come and get trained in the career field. Last year, Washington Holmes Technical Center, which now is the Florida Panhandle.
Ms. Cleveland.
I'm Dr. Cleveland. I'm retired after 45 years of a career in education. As a mathematics teacher at Chipley High School and at Chipola College, I have faced many of the challenges that teachers in today's classrooms are facing. I have supervised both vocational and academic programs. As Dean of Education, I have been in the K-12 classrooms for the last 10 years, working with students, interns, pre-service teachers, and teachers who are supervising them. I'm trained in the Danielson teacher evaluation model and the value-added model that impact teachers' scores, effectiveness, and overall school grades. As faculty chair of the college-level academic tests, I have extensive experience in statewide testing and would use that experience to help Washington County students as they prepare for Florida Standards tests.
Thank you, ma'am. First question will start with Mr. Harrell. Do you believe that a culturally diverse teaching staff is beneficial to children in our public schools? And as a board member, are you willing to address this issue?
Yes, I think it's a difference. We need to get diversities in our school. We just can't have a set of standards by one way. We've got to be able to reach kids in every way. As a teacher of 35 years, I've learned not to have the students to adapt to me, but what I had to do is to learn to adapt the learning styles of each student that I had. And the best way to do that is spend time with them, 5-6 minutes every day with them to understand how they are. You can't grade a student fairly, you can't teach a student fairly unless you begin to understand them and let them know that you care about it. Once you do that, the diversity and everything that everybody has will make a better quality student.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Cleveland.
Working in the School of Education, that was a big issue for us. Recruitment of minority students to train to become teachers. We offered scholarships. We had free tuition for anyone who was going to finish their junior and senior year at Chipola College to get a degree in math and science, elementary ed, and ESE. Unfortunately, we have not been successful in recruiting those students. But it didn't keep us from doing that, and I think that it is a very important issue. I think that we need to have diversity in our staff, just like we have diversity in our schools.
Thank you, ma'am. And Mr. Mask, you have final word on that question.
It's very important to have diversities in these systems. But the fact of the matter is, if you've got nobody applying for that position in a minority group, you can't hire somebody out of a minority group. So we need to come up with an agreement between these school board members, find out, even with our lawyer, what we're able to do to entice these people, these students that come out of colleges to come into this county. You know, we got a lot of great resources here, and we got some of the greatest children you've ever wanted to see, and we got some great educators, but we've got to come up with programs that's going to see that people come back here to teach. And we need to try to figure out what it's going to take to get the minority groups to apply for jobs here.
Thank you, sir. And Ms. Cleveland, you will be first on this next question. Recognizing the fact that there is no incumbent in this race, we ask that you answer to the best of your ability. It has been reported that there have been volunteers from the black community who have been denied volunteer privileges in the school. There are 5 stated requirements in Florida Statute 1001.41 and 1001.42 that were met by these volunteers, but they were still not allowed the opportunity to serve. What is your response, if any, to this?
First of all, I'm very surprised at that. I know that schools support volunteers, and I've seen those volunteers working in the halls with individual students where teachers did not have time to do that differentiated instruction. I think it would be, as a school board member, that I would certainly investigate that situation. If they met all the statutes, which you have to be background checked, there are residency requirements that you have to have. That's important to keep our children safe. But I would want to investigate those and find out what were the roadblocks to that, because I think volunteerism is very, very important to put hands-on for individual students who need extensive help.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Massey.
Well, being involved in many outreach programs, you require a lot of help to get those facilitated and organized and to execute them. And being in our school system, when you got people coming out willing to give a handout and say, let me help, you know, it is alarming to know that they passed all these backgrounds and all that they needed to do, but wasn't able to help. I don't know the whole thing. I'm not a school board member, so I don't know exactly what they were dealing with on that. But I would like to look into that and find out more, because I've never told somebody that I don't need their help. You know, you afford anybody an opportunity to lift a hand anytime that they can. I try to give a hand to people that I can, and I see the same thing for me when we organize things. So we need to look into that deeper.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Harrell,
Yes, that's the first time I ever heard that. I mean, my goodness, why in the world would we want to turn somebody down who wants to help our kids? I mean, as a teacher for 35 years, any student needs help. Bless God, bring on the help. We need to check why we got that policy. We can make any kind of changes. And my goodness, why turn down help, you know? Praise God. If we got people that's so excited to help our kids. Let me tell you this, from the 3rd grade to the 10th grade, if you average it, 53% of our kids is scored in level 1 and 2. And we got people that's willing to sit back and come ahead and help them so they can go to level 3 or 4 or 5. Praise God, bring it on. Let's do some thorough checking and find out. We never should turn down any help, regardless of race, creed, color, or anything.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Mast, you will be first on this, which will be your last question. In your opinion, what primarily, if you had to choose one thing, is missing from our current school system, and how, if you're elected, do you intend to improve or enhance that thing?
The one thing that's missing in this school system that I actually see so far, we've done touched on it a couple of times today, and that's cultural diversity. You know, we don't have, we know that already. We know we do not have the same number of minority groups teaching as we do in the others. So it is something, and like I said, we're going to have to figure out a program to entice people to come in here, to teach here, to apply here. Because like I said, if they're not applying, we can't hire them. So we've got to take and figure out a way to get them to come here, and there's a way to do it. We've got a great board, they've done great work, and we can work together to come and find out what it's going to take. But we're going to have to employ the help of the community also. We got to get out and learn our districts better, and learn what the people in our districts want more. And that's something I ain't seen very much. I don't know that I've ever had anybody come to me outside of asking me to vote for them.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Harrell.
My number one concern, being a career technology educator, is the fact that we're turning our kids out with no job skills whatsoever. As the students that I take, the high school students that I had in auto body, I had to teach math, science, and English because they were falling behind in math, science, and English. They could graduate, but they couldn't get a job, keep a job. My number one concern is making sure that we have every child, 100% of our kids attending school, is have the opportunity to have some kind of career before they get out of school. Right now, our kids are getting out of school, they're either racing to the soup line or unemployment line, and we need to stop that because we're better than that. We have a complete school system in place. We have the energy, we have the necessary, we have the vision. We just got to implement that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And Ms. Cleveland, you have final word on this question.
I think one of the hardest things that I see in the school system today is the discouragement of students. And I don't think have a real commitment to learning. Judge Smiley in his address to the ROLAC reunion talked about how his parents didn't have the opportunity to have certain jobs, and how when he came through, the doors were opening and he became the first black judge in Bay County. And he was discouraged, as I am, that we don't have more young people who are stepping up and wanting to pursue academic studies or career studies that will change their life and give them open opportunities to have good jobs and to make a difference in this world. And I would like to change that culture in the schools and help students get more hope for the future and their future and what they can offer.
Thank you, ma'am. How about a big round of applause for our District 2 school board candidates. Thank you very much. Please stick around. Just a very short few minutes. You're going to have the opportunity to come up and say some final thoughts. We'll now ask Washington County School District 3 candidates to make their way to the dais. And I'll ask our 3 Washington County Sheriff candidates to come on up. You guys are on deck. And if you'll sit here behind the dais. Appreciate your patience with us. We told you we were going to try to get you out of here by noon, and we're just coming up on that right now. But I think that you will agree with me that the content is definitely worth being here for. So for what it's worth, thank you so much for coming. If we'll have our 3 sheriff candidates make their way up here so we can get started on our next school board race. You guys were going to walk so slow, I would have taken a bathroom break. Just kidding, you don't want to make these 3 guys mad. Just kidding again, as far as you know. All right, we've got Washington County School Board District 3 candidates here. We have Randy Truitt and we have the incumbent Milton Brown. We'll give you each 1 minute. Mr. Truitt, you are first.
Good afternoon. My name is Randy Truitt. I've lived in Washington County for all my life. I was raised right here in Chipley. I love Washington County. I love our Washington County school system. I have the skill set and knowledge through my career to carry that forward in the school board and hopefully help improve education. We've got a good system, but every system has room for improvement. If you elect me, I will work hard for you, I will listen to you, and I will try to address all issues that you come to me with. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Brown.
My name is Milton Brown. I'm proud to say that I am your incumbent for District 3 of the Washington County School Board. I am a Washington County graduate of the Washington County School District. I graduated from Alabama Southern College. I then joined the Florida Highway Patrol and was there and retired after 27 years. I was an instructor with the Highway Patrol. I've also been an instructor at North Florida College. I've been an instructor at the Florida Highway Patrol Academy. While working as an instructor, I've done classes in Washington, Holmes, Jackson counties for our young people, safe dates classes, basically, as a lot of people say, I teach them how to behave, other things besides reading, writing, and arithmetic. I teach them how to be successful and behave in their future lives. And I'm very proud of that. I'm currently the director of the Green Dot program, which is a violence prevention program. It's the lead program in the state of Florida right now, and I'm proud to say that Washington and Holmes County are leading the state in that program.
Thank you, sir. With our first question, Mr. Brown, you will be first up with this. Why do you feel teachers are leaving Washington County? What, if anything, as a school board member, can you do to hopefully change this?
Well, one of the things I can tell you is, as a board member, and when we have meetings on budget, one of the things that we do is we compare our salaries to other counties. And I'm proud to say that we've always, and you can ask any teacher around, that we pay as good or better than Holmes County, than Jackson County, than Bay counties. So we do what we can in order, and I see some of the teachers there shaking their head, but we do what we can in order to try to keep those teachers here. We have good teachers in Washington County. They have done an extremely good job with what they have. We know that teaching is like law enforcement. You don't go into those careers if it's all about pay, but it's about bettering our students, and that's what, we do what we can, improving their, I guess, teaching status or their teaching situation, such as bringing in new schools and doing things that we can.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Truitt.
I don't really know the answer to this. Look at the board meetings. They usually approve all hires and resignations and accept those. I've never seen in there the reason they were leaving. So to answer this question, I would have to find out why the teachers are leaving. If our salaries are comparable, then what's the other reason? Is there another reason that they're going? I'd have to talk to everyone that left. If there was a common problem, if there was a trend of why the majority of these people are leaving, then we would have to address that trend. So I guess my answer to the question is, to keep them from leaving, I'll have to find out why they're leaving. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Truitt, you'll be first on this next question. Upon your election or re-election, what new policies do you feel would be beneficial and that you could possibly introduce, presuming the knowledge that there are a multi-member board and that you don't have complete say, to improve the public school education system in Washington County?
Well, what policy would I implement? I don't know what policy I would actually implement, but I would go through all policies and make sure that they are good policies. And if they're not, I would try to get them changed. And then I would make sure that the policies are followed and they're followed consistently. That's usually the biggest problem with any policy that gets made or any rule, is that it's not followed consistently. And that would be my job, is to make sure that all the policies are followed consistently, make sure they're good policies, they're going to be effective for long term, and not cause any problems. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Brown.
Well, one of the things that's been near and dear to my heart since I've gotten elected 4 years ago, we've been trying to implement a life skills class that would hopefully every student in Washington County could take, and which would improve their job skills, their hiring ability throughout the state, and hopefully bringing them back here to Washington County. Also, one of the things that we've done recently here with the Washington County school system, we actually had all the teachers within the Washington County school system come and visit Washington Home Technical College. I actually got to go with them out there on that tour, and it was interesting when teachers who have been in the system for many years would come to the technical college and say, I did not know that this was out here. I did not know that this was taught here. We have some of the best teaching that's going on there at technical college, and it will give them skills that they can use in their future lives.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Brown, you'll be first on this next question. There have been volunteers from the black community that have been denied volunteer privileges in the school. There are 5 stated requirements in Florida Statute 1001.41 and 1001.42 that were met by these volunteers, but they were still not allowed the opportunity to serve. What is your response to this?
My response is, this is the first time I've heard of it. I can tell you that I'm hoping that whoever and wherever those problems are occurring, they will bring those problems to me. I am the current chairman of the Washington County School Board, and I can tell you that if they met those 5 requirements and were denied the ability to go in the Washington County school system, I want to know what the problem was. And I can tell you that that problem will be handled. One of the things that we know that there are requirements that are set in place to protect all of our students. One of those requirements that is important is the security background. We can't have just anybody around our children. But if all those requirements were met, then I want to know, and I'd like to meet with whoever submitted that question to find out further about it and hear both sides of what actually happened.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Truitt.
there's only one right answer to the question is, don't turn away help. You don't turn away a volunteer. So I would, like all the rest of the members that sit up here, I would want to know why they were turned away. I would want to know who turned them away. I'd like to know who gave them the authority to turn them away. Is it because they don't like you? That's not a good enough reason. So that's the only answer that any of us could give is you do not turn away voluntary help that's qualified to come into the school system, that meets all the requirements. You don't turn them away. It's that simple. Take the help. We're understaffed already. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Truitt, you will be the first to answer this as our last question of the session. Recognizing the overwhelming scope of this question, what do you see as a positive in the schools and what do you see as a negative?
Positive in the school is that we've got great teachers, great bus drivers. We've got great staff that work for the school system. There's a continued of positives. The children that go to school, the families that support school. We've got communities that support school. So there's a lot of positives there. I think that we are on the cutting edge of technology to the best of our abilities within the school system. There's room for improvement. But we have good staff. Is the staff in the right place? I don't know. But we got good staff. As far as, you said a negative? Understaffed, overpopulated schools.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Brown.
One of the positives that I would say is state testing right now has third grade testing, as Mr. Taylor talked about. That shows your ability to graduate and the ability of those students to do well in high school. Our testing for third grade testing reading scores last year came out, and we came out ranked 11th out of 67 counties in the state of Florida. And I would venture to say that is definitely a positive, and I give all the credit to our teachers and the hard work that they do. So we are on the right track, and we could have to continue improving to put them and our students in a position that they can be successful in life. The negative, I would say, is some of the requirements that high stakes testing has put on us in Washington County. Specifically saying Washington County because we have so many students and we have a technical college, but they're trying to make us give everybody to college, and that's not set for everybody.
Thank you, sir. I'd encourage you to stick around. How about a big round of applause for our Washington County School Board District 3 candidates. If Ms. Bruner would start to make her way up here from Supervisor of Elections Office, and our sheriff's candidates are welcome to take a seat here at the dais. I'm going to let Ms. Bruner make an announcement up front here. If you'll meet me over on this side here, I'll give you a microphone down there.
Hi, my name is Greta Bruner, and I'm your Assistant Supervisor of Elections. Carol Rudd had prior obligation, so she wasn't able to come. I just wanted to let you know we have our sample ballots already for the August election. We have Democrat, Republican, nonpartisan, and Libertarian Party ballots back there. You are free to pick up any that you would like. We also have voter registration forms back there. If you need to make an address change, a party change, name change, you need to get this done. Books close August the 1st, so if you would like to make that party change, it needs to be done quickly. I'll be back here the whole time. Just come by and visit. We also are looking for poll workers. We have the applications back there if you would be interested in working at the polls. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's poll workers, not pole dancers. You guys have just been patient and have had long faces out there, and I just wanted to introduce a little bit of my own form of comedic humor. That just goes to show you. All right, we have our final candidates on stage at this point, our final race under contention this year. We do not have an incumbent going forward in the role of Washington County Sheriff, and we have 3 candidates for that race. Starting on your left, we have Mark Collins. In the middle, we have Chris Ellis, and on the far side, we have Kevin Cruz. And each of these candidates will have 1 minute to start to introduce themselves. And Mark, you are first up.
Thank you, New Vision. Appreciate the opportunity to be able to come today and to be able to express our views and opinions of the office in which we intend to seek here in this upcoming election. I am Mark Collins. I'm a captain at the Washington County Sheriff's Office. I'm the chief investigator, and I assist in the day-to-day functions of that sheriff's office. Currently, I oversee and supervise the criminal investigations division, as well as the crime scene and evidence portions of that sheriff's office, victims advocate, administrative services, just the numerous day-to-day dealings with that sheriff's office. You know, Monday I had the opportunity to sit and listen to the police chief of Dallas and explain what was going on in their city and the situation they were dealing with, and I heard him touch on a couple of things, and the 2 main things, and you're more than welcome to look back and look at his speech, but he talked on community policing and building relationships with people, and that's exactly what I've talked on during my campaign, if you look back, and that's where we intend to go.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Ellis.
Good evening or good morning. My name is Chris Ellis. I recently retired from state law enforcement 2 years ago. I was employed with the Florida Highway Patrol 13.5 years. I have worked all over this great state of Florida. I have worked in many aspects of the Florida Highway Patrol, but my primary mission that I've worked with is dealing with criminal apprehension and drug interdiction. I have worked from the streets of Miami to the streets in Jacksonville to Tampa, all over this great state of Florida, and have a working relationship with many different agencies throughout this state, whether it's DEA, federal, state, FDLE, and all the other agencies around here. I've worked with all of them. I have a vast amount of experience and a vast amount of knowledge that will assist and help this county in many different ways. I've volunteered, not just to talk about law enforcement, volunteered in many different aspects since I've been back home with community service, reaching out and helping our children, our young people of this county, and I will appreciate the opportunity to share and continue more with my law enforcement and my service to the community.
And Mr. Cruz.
Thank you. I'm Kevin Cruz. Thank you for allowing me to be here. I've been married 27 years. I have 3 grown kids that went through the Washington County school system. I have 3 grandkids. I've been a police officer for right at 25 years. I've been your chief of police for right at 15 years. My background as a beat cop was an undercover officer. I've worked in an undercover capacity from Jefferson County, Florida to Walton County, Florida, pretty much all over the Panhandle. Was a drug investigator for several years. For 15 years, I have been your chief of police, and for that 15 years, I have the experience of managing a budget, hiring personnel, and directing the resources of the Chipley Police Department in areas that it needs to be focused on. I'm ready to be your sheriff of Washington County. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And we'll start our round of questions with you, Mr. Collins. 1 minute each for these. What major changes, if any, will you make if elected to the sheriff's office?
The main thing I see that we need to do as a sheriff's office is we need to get off these main roads, 77, 79, 90, and I-10. We need to be in these back communities is where we need to be. You know, I've said it quite a few times as we went along in this campaign. When you live in Rome, you do as the Romans do. And the way I work for a sheriff, and we do it the way he wants to do it. But I will tell you that my goal is to get our officers back in these back communities where they need to be. They need to be watching your back door, my back door. We need to be involved in our communities. We need to be making contact with our people. We need to be making contact with our businesses. We need to be making contact with our schools. This is where we need to be, not just in Washington County. This is where law enforcement has to be for the future.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Ellis.
One of the first things that I will implement is I will bring together a Sheriff's Advisory Committee, reaching out to all the maybe community leaders, preachers within certain areas of this county, and bringing them together, maybe meeting quarterly, and getting their input on what is the issues in their community. It does nothing good. I mean, it's not very good for me to sit up here in this office and not be totally aware of what's going on in the surrounding area, whether it's down at Ebro, Vernon, and different communities within this county. So that will be one of the first things that I will do is implement a Sheriff's Advisory Committee. And then I will sit down with all the employees of the Washington County Sheriff's Department and get them on the same page as me, dealing with courtesy, service, and protection, and making sure that when they make traffic stops or when they're making contacts within the community, they are approaching these people in a proper, civil, and let's say a godly manner to ensure that the law enforcement is done correctly in Washington County.
Mr. Cruz.
One thing that I won't change is my dedication and commitment to doing the job that I've been doing for the last 15 years. The one thing that I will change is I will try to obtain the respect of this community and the respect of those employees that work at the Sheriff's Department. That's one thing I will change. The other thing that I will change is I will become an accessible sheriff, as I am the chief of police. I'm big on returning phone calls. Like I said, I've been doing this 15 years, and that just goes back to the way I was raised. I'm big on when you tell a man or a woman that you're going to do something, you do it. So the biggest thing that I'll change is the respect of those men and women that work there, the respect of the community that we serve, and be accessible as your sheriff. The other thing that I will do is I will be more involved with our schools. And what I mean by that is we will start meeting, not necessarily with the superintendent or not necessarily with the school board, but what we're going to do, we're going to meet with those principals that run these schools.
We have several questions which revolve around the same question. Mr. Ellis, you'll be first on this. It has been stated that there's a lack of cultural diversity in the Sheriff's Department due to lack of funds to attract good officers. Do you intend to aggressively petition the city, county, and state for revenue to offer competitive salaries to remedy the situation?
You know, I will do so, yes. But I want you to understand too, a lot of holding on to employees is you treat them fairly. Yes, we don't make the highest pay around here, but if you treat somebody with respect, your employees with respect, and you encourage them and you work with them, then a lot of times they will make that effort, especially if they are from here, to stay here and maybe get a little less pay. But one of the things I want to say too, in reference to reaching out to all aspects of race to bring into the Sheriff's Department, one of our things that we should maybe model ourselves to is you look at professional sports. Professional sports brings in all kind of different races, religions, all different ethnic backgrounds for the one purpose, and that is to win. If you bring out and reach out to all different races and treat them right and bring them in and let them be part of the Sheriff's Department, then everyone will benefit.
Mr. Cruz.
Yeah, that is a problem. It's hard for us to compete with Tallahassee, Panama City. You know, I was just talking, not to call any names, with a gentleman here today, about some employment. But when I can tell you, I've been doing it 15 years. The truth of the matter is, when a good black officer from Chipley or Washington County, when he gets his credentials or his degree, they do not stay here. Tallahassee will start them at almost twice what we can start them at right here, and you can't fault that guy for that. Panama City, now it's Walton County. Walton County pays really good money in our career. So that's been that we get back to our economy. What the county commissioners, some of the questions that they were faced with, and the jobs and everything.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Collins, you have a final word on this question.
You know, I work there. I can tell you that we have an array of diversity, different ethnic groups that work at the sheriff's office. Whenever you got I went over the applications, or I was told of the applications that we just had just not too long ago in an opening. You know, we didn't have but 4 applicants in the position that was available. It's not just getting applicants from blacks. It's not just getting applicants from Hispanics. It's getting the applications from white as well. Law enforcement is it's a changing field by far, and I think that people are seeing that, it's to attract somebody. You got Walton County, you got Bay County, you got Tallahassee, you got all these other agencies that's paying a lot more money. They're paying more than Washington County by far, more than Chipley Police Department. So that's where they're going to be at if they're looking for a job in law enforcement.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Cruz, you'll be first on this next question. Again, this question was asked at least 4 or 5 times in different ways.
Let's hear it.
I'm trying to put them all together here. Okay. But thank you for that.
We fixed to call 10 seconds on you.
And thank you for that lighter moment. What are some of the ways to improve racial relations in the community? Given the existing racial tensions elsewhere in the country, not necessarily here, but obviously that having more of a magnifying glass on it these days, how can you plan on creating a positive communication and a better relationship between the sheriff's office and the entire community, and in this case, obviously, the black community?
Well, that's a good question. We all got to do a better job, and when I say we all, people in my career and people in the communities. But a prime example of where we live is, I just talked to some of these guys in the back. I was invited to a meeting up here by, I guess it was New Vision that sponsored that meeting a couple of 3 weeks ago. And the ball is put in, has been put into play. And that's definitely a step in the right direction. And what we've got to do in the law enforcement community is we got to follow up and do a better job and hold hands and be a part of these organizations that are trying to do the right thing. Because it gets back to, it's all about the kids, and somebody's got to start doing it and start doing it now. And I think we're in the right direction, and just follow up in those meetings with those people.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Collins.
I guess I can continue to preach on this, so I will. I'll preach for just a little bit, Jerry, if that's okay. But it's through partnering. It's through collaborative effort between the community and the law enforcement agency. We've got to join together. It's about building relationships, people. It is about us knowing. Sure, it's Ferguson. Sure, it's Dallas. Sure, it's New York. But it'll be Washington County if we are not proactive in law enforcement. We have got to be proactive. We have got to build relationships. We have got to start now. If we don't, we will see. Bay County had a demonstration. I'm all about demonstrations as long as it's what the Constitution says, peaceably. But at the same time, we've got to be proactive when it comes to our relationships with our communities, not just black, white, Hispanic, all communities. That's where we have got to be as a law enforcement agency.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Ellis, you're last on this question.
Once again, when I talked about earlier building a committee to advise the sheriff's department, that is doing one of the things that needs to be done, reaching out to those within the community and being aware of what's going on in the community. One of the things that I would ask one of these 2 guys is if you've all been in the position of leadership within your individual departments, I would eventually say, what have you guys done in the past to ensure that this is going on? I have worked many years with trying to reach out to different organizations, either working with the Tiger 100, reaching out to different church groups and being a part of what they need to do. But the biggest thing is communication. We have got to be at the Sheriff's Department in communicating with those within the community and ensuring that if they have a function going on, that we have maybe a family from the Sheriff's Department going and being part of that and being part of what is going on in those communities and not just standing back and watching what's going on.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Collins, you'll be first up on this question. And again, combining several similar questions. Do you believe in sensitivity training? Is there sensitivity training currently conducted in the Sheriff's Office? And what qualifies you to make the Sheriff's Office a better place and more receptive to a diverse culture?
Diversity is something that we teach in law enforcement. It's a requirement. It's not optional. Sensitivity training is something that we've got to focus on. We've definitely got to focus on more sensitive training to the issues and what's going on. We've got to be more sensitive in a lot of areas, to include the generational gap that we see with our generation and what's coming on behind us. You know, and as far as qualifications, it's sitting at that sheriff's office for the past 20 years and knowing what I've seen under two administrations. I've sat under Sheriff Hill, I've sat under Sheriff Haddock, I've been promoted through the levels, and I can tell you that's what qualifies me to be able to see and to know what I can do as far as being sheriff, to include sensitivity training and the things that needs to occur at that sheriff's office.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Ellis.
Being a member of the Florida Highway Patrol, one of the things that we get trained on every year is human diversity. We're taught when we come into the Florida Highway Patrol that one of the mottos that Florida Highway Patrol has is courtesy, service, and protection. When you walk up to a vehicle or you walk up to a house, you introduce yourself and you explain why this particular person has been stopped or why you're conducting an interview with them. And you treat them with respect. You don't talk down to anybody. We're all humans, and unless they give you that reason to talk down to them, you still continue to treat them with respect and carry on that. I will instill that in the employees of the Sheriff's Department, ensure they understand where I'm coming from. You treat each individual with respect, and you treat them with the dignity that they deserve.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Cruz.
What makes me qualified? The way my mom and daddy raised me. That's what makes me qualified, is to treat everybody like you'd like to be treated. That's the way I was brought up. Yeah, I've got all the training either one of them's got, probably and then some. We do have to go through that training, but it's just a piece of paper. It gets back to the soul and the body and the way he was brought up, and you know, the want to do the right thing. But to address, Chris asked a question. This is the third time we've debated, and it's the first time I guess that's hit the floor, but I'm going to answer his question. Well, you wanted to know what we've done. I'm going to tell you what I've done. 15 years, 25 years, 30 years. I coached Pee Wee football, and when these people up here in this area couldn't get to the football practice field, I come up here and hauled. And I got people here that will vouch for that. I was a member of the TJ Rolack Enrichment Board. I was a member of the Team Court Board. So that's just, I don't have enough time to talk about all the things I have done. That's part of the things I've done right there.
Thank you, sir. This will be our final question, and we'll start with Mr. Ellis. When elected, how will you help fund the Washington County Sheriff's Office Explorer program, and share your thoughts about that program?
You know, the Explorer program is a great opportunity to reach out to these young people, whether they're black, white, red, or yellow, surround them with current law enforcement officers, and encourage them to bring in, to maybe take up the field of law enforcement. That is where we possibly could find some of these young people to bring into the Sheriff's Department that are a different race. And there's the Sheriff's Department has access to many different ways of funding the Explorer program. I think it is a great program, but I also believe that maybe there's an opportunity through the Explorer program to reach out to some of these kids that have gone through the system of teen court, giving them maybe the encouragement through teen court, requiring them to be part of the Explorer program, and also give them the opportunity to turn their lives around just through the Explorer
Thank you, sir.
program.
Mr. Cruz.
The question was how to fund the Explorer program?
How to better fund it, and what are your thoughts about the program?
Oh, I think it's a good program. I sure do. I don't know if they do fundraisers. I don't know if they're in. Dire straits on funding for that program. I don't know. That's a problem if they are. That's too good a program to be put on the back burner. That's something that I fund a lot of stuff on, seizures, cars, drugs, money. I'm able to do a lot of things with that. And also I take a lot of that money and put back in the community too. I donate to the schools with that money. And what I'm talking about is money that was seized in the drug raids and stuff. I'll take a lot of that, put it right back in. I buy equipment for those officers, but that's one avenue, one option that I would explore if they're in trouble on financing it.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Collins, you have a final word on that question.
I've had the privilege of being part of that Explore program and watching it grow through the years, and I'll tell you how you fund it. You know, they can do fundraisers and all that, but when you got a program that's doing as well as the Explore program, you fund it through your budget. That's how you fund it. You fund a program because this is what we do with the Explore program. We've only hired one officer in the past 3 or 4 years that's came from an outside application. Why? Because we know these kids from the 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. They go to law enforcement class. They come to work with us as a dispatcher, where they go through law enforcement training. They complete that, and we know what about them. We know everything. We know their family. We know their work history. We know their Facebook history. We know their social media history. We know everything about them. This is a great program. It's one of the best programs we've developed. We're hiring people, putting them on the road through this program. We're going to fund it. I can tell you, we're going to fund it right through the budget. That's where we're going to fund it from.
Thank you, sir. I misspoke. I've just been handed what will be the final question now. There is the perception within the community that when blacks may be pulled over in a traffic stop for a taillight infraction or something along that line, that there seems to be excessive searching done at that time as compared to other citizens. Again, how will you change that perception? And Mr. Cruz, you're first on this.
Well, one thing that I'm going to do is, just like these New Vision is up and running strong, this new blast group, one thing that I committed to those guys is not just to meet with me. I want this new blast group, and even somebody from New Vision that wants to be there. I want to bring my whole department in on those meetings, not just me and the organizers of the blast group, but I want these guys to meet with my guys. And again, doing a better job, us doing a better job in the community that we serve, you know. Getting out with the kids, you know, when you go down the street in a patrol car. Knowing who the kids is, let the kids know who we are, you know. But the biggest thing is start doing a better job at meeting. And, you know, I think as early as next week, we're going to try to put something together. Our department is.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Collins.
I've got a lot of friends sitting out here today, and anybody that knows me knows that when it comes to ethnicity, it does not matter. You know, we all bleed red. It does not matter where we come from or what our creed is. We all bleed red, and so that's at the end of the day. It's all about justice being served. And I'll tell you, as far as I'm not going to tolerate if that's the perception. I'm going to educate, and I'm going to talk to different organizations and talk to our people and find out if this is what they're feeling. If it's what they're feeling, then we're going to change that perception. We're going to change it through show and tell, and letting our office be being transparent in everything that we do. That's exactly what we have got to do as a law enforcement agency, and transparency is everything. Knowing what's occurring within your agency, what's occurring on the street.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Ellis, you have a final word on the final question.
Working drug interdiction pretty much all my career, there is an art form to interviewing people on the side of the road and talking to them. The interview is the most important part of a traffic stop, because you're able to, within a matter of a few seconds, find out whether there's anything further to it, whether there's drugs, or whether this subject may be wanted by through a warrant or through some other crime. So the interview is the most important part. You don't base anything on race. You don't do anything. If you're stopping cars and the only people that you're searching is black people, then you're missing a lot of major and big drugs that are traveling up and down these highways. So the interview process is the most important. But I will train and retrain and train again my employees and ensure that they're not making racial traffic stops on profile, and they're actively doing the things that need to be done within the community and not basing it on race.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all for your participation. Thanks to New Vision, we're going to allow all of the candidates 1 minute to make some closing remarks. We're going to start with those candidates here on stage. Start with Mr. Collins. We'll give you 1 minute to all the sheriff's candidates, and then following that, please allow them to finish, and then I'll ask all the other candidates to come up and meet me in front of the stage here, and we'll give you that same opportunity. Mr. Collins.
For 25 years, I've served you as a law enforcement officer, and the last 20 of that being at your sheriff's office. You know, I was not promoted through the ranks by just one sheriff. I was promoted by two. I've worked with them, and I've been promoted from deputy sheriff to corporal to sergeant to lieutenant to chief investigator captain, where I am now. I ask you to look at the qualifications and experience of the candidates. Take out those cards and compare the cards. That's what you need to do when you're electing your sheriff. You need to compare the cards, compare the experience, compare the qualifications. When it comes to that sheriff's office, it's no small animal. It receives over half of the county's budget every year. $4.2 million is the budget. You need somebody that knows that budget, that knows the incomings and the outgoings. It's made up of different organizations to include patrol, investigation, civil process, court services, school resource, water management, victims advocate. You know, it's 120 men and women now with EMS and 911 added to it. You don't just...
Thank you, sir. Mr. Ellis.
Through different forums and different speaking engagements, I've heard both of these guys come up and say how they're the best candidate for the job. One works with the captain as a captain with the Washington County Sheriff's Department, the other one's the chief of police. What I ask of you is to sit back and think about how the relationship is with you, this community, and the Washington County Sheriff's Department, and your relationship with the Chipley Police Department. I'm offering you a different opportunity. I'm offering you the opportunity to bring in somebody from the outside who has professional experience, who has the goals and mind of trying to make this community a better place for all individuals to live. If you'll ever look at my sign, it said that it's planted in the yards. I will be a sheriff for all the people, not just a certain group of people, for all the people. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And before you start, Kevin, if I would have all the other candidates come and line up along this wall and make their way this way. I'm going to allow you to speak first as soon as Mr. Cruz is done. Would you please keep your noise to a minimum, though, Mr. Cruz?
Yeah, please compare all three of us. I want you to do that. I want you to look at my experience. I want you to look at the record that I've got as chief of police here in Chipley Police Department. I'm the only candidate up here that's proved himself. I've run this agency for 15 years. And yeah, if you're satisfied with the way the sheriff's office is right now, then I'm not your man. But if you're not, I'm your man. And again, look at what I've been able to do. We've got one of the safest, one of the lowest burglary rated cities in the state of Florida. Matter of fact, in the United States. That didn't happen overnight. I'm ready to take those programs that I've been able to do here in Chipley and go county-wide with those programs. My goal will be to make our county the safest in the state of Florida and this nation, and I'm ready to be your sheriff. Thank y'all.
Thank you, sir. How about a big round of applause for all of our sheriff's candidates? Tracy Andrews, let's get away from this speaker here. Tracy Andrews and many others, obviously Deborah Brown and everyone in New Vision went to a lot of trouble, did a lot of work here today. Tracy, how about a few words?
Just a few words. Thank you for coming out to participate on today. I do want to recognize the New Vision members. Many of you seen some of the New Vision members here with their shirts on, but thank you for your support. And I thank the Supervisor of Election Office for coming out. Hopefully we registered some today to vote in the upcoming election. And just thank you for our candidates and for all those that were able to make this successful today. Thank you so much.
Big round of applause for Tracy and Deborah and all the members of New Vision. Alan, come on over here. We're going to give all of the candidates 1 minute. If you're deciding to leave right now, we ask that you do so in silence, out of respect to these guys, and give them an opportunity, and women, and give them an opportunity to speak. You have 1 minute. Thank you.
I'll state my name again. I'm Alan T. Bush. I'm currently the chairman of the board. I've been the chairman all 4 years that I've been on the board. I think that shows great support from the various board members on my behalf. You said it best. This is a job fair. If you look at my handout, the top line says the most qualified candidate for the job. And I truly believe and know that I am the best candidate for the job. One of the first things you have to do when you have a job is show up. That's nothing against my opponent, but I am here. And to me that makes a difference. I've got the experience, I've got the education to be a great commissioner, and I have been. I truly believe that, and I'll discuss it with anyone over these past 4 years. But I didn't just settle for that when I came in the office. I took the initiative to do other things to become a better county commissioner. I voluntarily took the Certified County Commissioner training, the Advanced Certified County Commissioner training, a member of the Small County Coalition, and been elected to the Florida Association of Counties as on their board of directors. Is that a minute?
Actually, got an extra 10 seconds. James Guy.
Once again, my name is James Guy. I'm a candidate for County Commissioner District 5. And I'm going to be very short and say that if you want to know what I will do for this county, if you elect me, simply look into my past, and what I've done in the past will dictate what I'll be able to do in the future. I'm sure everybody here has good intentions, and they mean exactly what they say when they say, I'll try to do this and do that. But look and see who's been working in this county for the last 10 years, who has not been in a position to try to improve the life for our residents. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Laura Bell.
Thank you again for the opportunity to be here today. I will tell you that the last 20 months serving as your clerk of court and comptroller has been just an amazing experience. I'm very humbled and honored to be able to do this job. It has been the most challenging, the busiest time in my whole life, but very rewarding to see the progress that we've been able to be making and continue to make. And to be a part of our board has been great, to work with the board and to be able to see what progress has been done there. I'm just honored and blessed to be a part of it, and to have the staff that we have, as I said earlier, an amazing work family that has made lots of progress and positivity in our office, and we just ask that you allow us to be able to continue that. And I appreciate your support come November 8th, and we are always available to you. It's your office. Please come in anytime, see how we operate and what we can do for you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Luke Cleveland.
I have been so blessed in my career to teach thousands of students and to have different roles in education. I have my experience in K through 16 education, that is K through 12 and then 4 years of college, helps me understand what the academic steps are to help students move towards a career. I consider career education both college degrees and technical college certificates. Both of them are very important and meet the needs of different students with different abilities. I recognize New Vision. I love their innovative program to start an avenue that has not been touched before. And that is one of my passions, is looking for innovative ways to solve problems. And I realized in my career that the only thing that matters is what you give away. And I am hopeful that you will elect me for the school board so that I can continue working in the field of education. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Stephanie Blankenship.
I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to be here today, and I want to thank each of you for coming out and listening to each of the candidates and their platforms and their ideas. We appreciate you being an educated voter, and we appreciate your support. It would be my pleasure to serve as your new clerk of court in November, and I would appreciate your vote.
Thank you, ma'am. Milton Brown.
I'd just like to take a minute to thank New Vision again. You know, with their Back to School giveaway and their scholarship programs, which this money that they're raising is going toward, and working with them in that, I put that group against any in the county, and I'd just like everybody to recognize the good work that they do. But I'd also like to say that working with the school board, I'd like to thank the other board members for voting me as chairman. They saw my leadership, and this is the second year that I've been voted as chair. We've done some good work in the county. We've got other counties calling Washington County saying, how did y'all get those test grades up? What are y'all doing to get it right? And I'm proud to say to Washington County, we're not where we want to be, but we are headed in the right direction. And I'm going to ask you to please vote for me, because I do believe that Washington County school system is headed in the right direction.
Thank you, sir. Travis Mast.
I want to thank you again for the opportunity to be here. In seeking this position, I said I would quit the position at the city. I come in here wanting to work for you. I'm going to be an advocate for you with the school board. And I come seeking that position. Once I'm done there, I have no alternative means of, I'm not retired from anything or nothing like that. My sole income will come from this position that I hold, and it'll be working for you. And if I do not complete the job that you think I've done, in 4 years I'll be looking for a job once again. So I can promise you, I will do everything in my power to keep this job and to perform in this position as you see it needs to be. I will do everything that it can be done to make this position worthy.
Thank you, sir. James McCall.
I'd like to say thanks to the people that put this on. I'd like to say one thing about me is, as a retired first sergeant, I think I have leadership skills, and I'm able to do a good job as a county commissioner. And then to show you how good my leadership skills is, I have all of my children in the church, and I'm working on my grandkids. So I believe if you got a good, strong family, you can go a long ways. The other thing is, I retired as a first sergeant, and I retired as a captain. I guess you say, how you do that? Well, I retired from one and went to the other, retired again, so I would be a full-time county commissioner. I don't have anything else to do but work for Washington County. And I hope you vote for me. If you want somebody that'll fight for you, I will be the person. And also, if I'm elected, I will set up a website so you'll know what's going on by James McCall. There won't be no secrets, nothing kept up under the table. If it's legal, I'll put it on the website. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Veronica Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Paul. Thank everybody in the room here. I'm going to take my 1 minute very quickly to let you all know that we need everybody's support for this fishing rodeo. I'm calling on each and every candidate in each and every race to bring tents, bring your we're not charging for any of this, and New Vision, you can certainly bring your stuff. You can sell hamburgers, hot dogs, in case the fishes don't get caught, okay? We've got drinks coming from Wausau Recreation Department. They've agreed to bring their kids out there and do that, but if anybody wants to set up a tent, sell anything, get the profits, we're all for it. I've asked the police department, the sheriff's department to make sure that we have some type of security out there so we don't get run around going on walk or stretch down there. It's very, very quick, okay? So we're gonna have 3189 Highway 277, Vernon, Florida, big campaign headquarters sign. You can't miss it. Please come. We appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am. Steve Joyner.
I want to thank everybody for coming out today, and thank everybody for allowing us this opportunity to be here. I'm Steve Joyner. I want to be your District 5 County Commissioner. During 2010 and 2012, I had the opportunity of leading this county through some tough times along with the board. We had a $1.8 billion deficit. We had to work with the constitutional officers, the employees, bringing everybody together and pulling through those times without increasing taxes. So I know how to lead this county. I know how to pull these people together. I know how to get things done. I have the ability to do so, and I appreciate you both. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ike Brown.
Thank you. Thank the Vision for allowing us to be here today. I bring experience to the table, and I bring years of qualifications. I want y'all to leave here remembering this. Ike Brown, successful leadership, full-time commission, economical growth, and and road improvement. Oh, excuse me. But these are the things I bring to the table. I bring you the experience, my core goals, economic growth, road improvements, sensible leadership, full-time commission. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Lynn Gothard.
I just want to say that 4 years ago when I took office, our county was about $10 million in debt from bad financial decisions from previous commissioners. Our board has worked hard to get that debt down to about $5 million. We've given raises for the first time in probably 8 or 9 years. We've entered a strategic plan to actually bring economic development here, not just talk about it. And we've done all that with no increase to the taxpayers of tax dollars. And it's called living on what you have, not borrowing your way out of debt, looking at all the financial decisions of the county. And I'm known with my fellow commissioners as the question asker. They accuse me of making the board meetings long, but I want to make sure that I'm well educated on every decision I make. And that's been my plan the whole time I've been there. And I'd appreciate your vote for 4 more years.
Thank you, ma'am. Jerry Harrell.
Wow, what an exciting time we've been in, and all these speeches and all that. It's just marvelous. We're seeing a fresh vision, new vision coming to Washington County. Praise God. Might as well just say, well, glory, and get it over with. Amen. My name is Jerry Harrell. As you know, I was born in Chipley. My wife was born in Walsall. She graduated from Vernon. I graduated from Chipley. We both graduated from the Tech College. So we got immunity. The last 35 years, guys, let me tell you about pressure. Every year that I taught here, I asked myself, in 196 days, am I going to have a job at the end of the year? I had to graduate 60 students. I had to put 70% of our students on the job. I had to have my students to take and pass the certification test 70%. So I know what it is to stand against pressure. I know what it is to work with our kids from the age, my kids were from 16 to 75. Yes, they were old, but still they were my kids. And I appreciate the opportunity of being here today in New Vision. Thank God for you guys.
Thank you, sir. Joe Taylor, re-elected without firing a shot.
I very much appreciate the invitation to come. This is extremely important. The Washington County School District, 7 schools, a technical college, 3,200 students, over 600 employees. We run a fleet of about 60 buses. We have an operating budget of $28 million. You throw in all our ancillaries and our budget goes up to $100 million. None of those numbers mean a single thing to you. If your child's a problem, if there's trouble that you're trying to deal with, when I say a problem, something that's happened in school, you're worried about their graduation, someone that you're a caregiver for, and none of that means anything. And these opportunities to be able to speak, and when I got the invitation, that's what I focused on, to allow me to introduce myself. No, I am not running, but you will have to see me for the next 4 years. My office is straight down that street and it is always open. If you have meetings, if you have concerns, call me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Al Cowan.
My name is Arthur Allen Cowan, Big Al. What I bring to the table, I will be able to listen. I'll be able to lead, and I'll be able to react and get it done. I'll be a full-time county commissioner. And for those other gentlemen out there that's going to be a full-time county commissioner, when I am elected, I'll get you a job.
Thank you, sir. And apparently, last but not least, Trey Hawkins.
Again, I'd like to thank New Vision for having us out today. I briefly spoke a while ago about 357 lots in Sunny Hills. I want to express this again why it's so important. We all enjoy the youth recreation services throughout the county, and the City of Chipley, City of Vernon, City of Walsall do a great job with it. But right now, there's 17% of the athletes are playing the youth recreation that comes from within the city limits. But the city fronts the bill and the entire thing, and Brett can attest to that. With the 357 lots, in Sunny Hills that's owned by the county, that's not been put on the market, I spoke with Gil Carter. The first thing we'll do is we'll list the lots for $2,000. If you'll sign an agreement, you'll build the house within 2 years, we'll refund your money, and that'll put an average of $686,000 annual back into the ad valorem. If they do default on it and don't build a house, they'll put $714,000 one time. back into Vizh-uhn. With that, we can help fund, earmark this money, help fund these youth services, and then that will also help your sheriff's department and the school board to give these kids some other alternative than just get out and do stuff that's not right.
Thank you,
Appreciate your time. Thank y'all.
You probably, like me, live here because you want to. I'll argue that this is simply the best place in the world to live. The grass always looks greener, but this is home, and again, I'm presuming that we are all here because we want to. This is our opportunity. There's never been a more important election cycle. Washington County is, as far as I'm concerned, again, the best place in the world. Let's don't mess it up. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Travel safe.